We want to sincerely apologize for starting a little behind schedule. Please forgive us for that. God bless you. Are we forgiven? We are Christians though. Are we forgiven? We are forgiven.
Please, we need our response, You know this is a youth day, isn't it? Akiode Youth Day, never a dull moment. So we don't want this to be a dull moment. So if you are saying something, you respond. With our blood is still hot. You get it? So you respond with what? A hot blood. God bless you in Jesus' name.
Amen. So this is Akiode special program, in case you don't know. But I'm very sure that we know. We all know, right? Do we all know? Somebody should tell me the theme of this program. I want to hear it from the back. I cannot hear you.
God bless that little child.
I can't hear you. Aspire.
Aspire.
So when I say aspire, you say aim for greatness. That's the response. Aspire.
Aim for greatness.
Aspire.
Aim for greatness.
Aim for greatness.
Aspire.
Aim for greatness.
Aspire.
Yeah. Well, I'm so excited to be here. I think I can say I'm peacock glad and hyena happy to see all of these beautiful faces, all of those people here present. Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate your presence. God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you. I'm not getting the rest of that. God bless you.
God bless you.
To be here.
Oh yes.
Are we happy to be here?
Oh yes, I'm happy to be here. I don't know if you are happy to be here. Happy to be here. God bless you. God bless you.
All right. So Toby Taiwo and
I'm Warrior Roots.
All right. So we'll be your presenter for this program. I plead with you to bear with us. God bless you. And I would like to inform you that this is an international event. Do we agree? Yes. Nobody's agree with me. It's an international event. Hello, sir. Are we live? We are live. Are we live? So, it's an international event. We have web audience. We can tell your friends that are not there, maybe stop in traffic. Tell them to log on. You can make it us on Facebook at Apostolic Faith Church Akiode, and on Instagram at AFM Akiode, on Twitter at AFM Akiode. God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
God bless you.
Tell your friends that might probably not be able to make it to this event to log into us. We are live. God bless you.
God bless you. And as we continue, I would like us to welcome our chief host. Do we know our chief host? Our chief host is the Lord Jesus Christ. As I'm mentioning his name, you'll be doing what? You'll be clapping because he needs what? An ovation. Do you hear me? So as I mentioned, you know he has different names. So as I mention his name, you'll be clapping. When he's down here, you know that everything will be what? Will be perfect. So our chief host is our Lord Jesus. He is the way maker. He is the lily of the valley. He is the Lion of the tribe of Judah. He is the ocean divider. He is the storm stiller. He is the storm stopper. He is our director. He is our Emmanuel. He is our savior. He is our salvation. He is our defender. He is our redeemer. He is our merciful God. I know that he is here. And if you agree with me that he is here, we are going to start by singing to his holy name. And we are going to call our brother Broshun Owamokele for this inspiration. God bless us. He join us in the program.
Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm very sure that we are happy to be here. Because of that, we are starting by appreciating God. We want to sing some songs of praises, just to appreciate God for making today a reality. Some of the lyrics of the songs will be displayed on the screen. Just follow. I know most of the songs are familiar songs, so we can always follow the song. You are here, walking in our midst. We worship you. We worship you. You are here, redeeming destinies. We worship you. We worship you. Waymaker, miracle worker, mighty healer, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Let's take it once again. Waymaker, miracle worker, promise keeper, light in the darkness. My God, that is who you are. Casting crowns, lifting hands, bowing out, it's all we've come to do. Casting crowns, lifting hands, bowing out, it's all we've come to do. Adonai, 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 you reign on earth. Adonai again. Adonai, 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 you reign on earth. We will rise. We will rise in your name, Adonai. You reign on earth. We will rise once more. We will rise in your name, Adonai. You reign on earth. You are more than what people say, but more than what people say. You are more than what people say. You are more than what people say. You are wonderful. You are glorious. You are more than what people say. You are wonderful. You are glorious. You are wonderful. You are glorious. You are more than what people. You are more than what people say. You are more than what people say. Jehovah, more than what people say. You are more than what people say. Jehovah, more than what people. You are wonderful, you are glorious. Wonderful, you are glorious. You are more than what people say. You are wonderful, you are glorious. You are more than what people say. Lord, you reign. Forever you're the same. Agama turugi mama. Imama, you lifted me and gave me a song. Agama turugi mama. Imama, okoro Obiadimam Imamae Joye Jeronun Imamae Narekele Narotuton Sansagi Buchimo Aina Turugi Mama Ọlọ́run tó dá wọn òkè ìgbàanì ẹ̀yin ni a fi ọpẹ́ wa fún. Ọlọ́run tó dá wọn òkè ìgbàanì ẹ̀yin ni a fi ọpẹ́ wa fún. Ta ni wọ́n tún gbé ga o bí kò ṣe bàbá lókè? Ta ni a tún fi gbogbo ọpẹ́ wa fún? Ọlọ́run tó dá wọn òkè ìgbàanì ẹ̀yin ni a fi ọpẹ́ àwa fún.
Hallelujah. God bless you. God bless you. I'm sure we're very happy to be here. It is sure that you aspire to be here. That is why you are here. Am I right? Am I correct? Am I saying your mind? All right. So, with that burning aspiration in our hearts, we are going to sing praises unto God from our hymn book. Hymn number 11. Hymn number 11. We're going to take verses 1, 2, and 6. Verses 1, 2, and 6. After the introduction from the organist. Hymn 11. Oh, worship the King, all glorious above. Oh, gratefully sing his power and his love. Oh, shield and defender, the ancient of days, pavilion in splendor and guarded with praise. Oh, worship the King. Oh, worship the King of glorious above. We'll gratefully sing his power and his love. Our shield and defender, the ancient of days, pavilion in splendor and guarded with praise. Verse 2. Oh, tell of his love, oh, sing of his praise. His chariots of wrath that did burn and died in his Verse 6. God bless you. God bless you. We'll sing again another hymn 14. Hymn 14. Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing. We will use the tune Valdari Valdara. My dear Redeemer's praise, the glories of my God and King, the triumphs of his grace. We will take verses 1, 2, and 6. Verse 6 we will sing standing, after which we will be led in congregational prayer. Verses 1, 2, and 6, hymn 14. Oh, for 1,000 tongues to sing. Oh, for 1,000 and tongues to sing, mighty. Jesus, the name that charms our fears, that charms that beats our sorrow cease. Sorrow cease. This music in the seamless years. Tis life and help and praise the Lord, 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 praise everlasting King, praise everlasting King, my gracious Master, my God, assist me to proclaim and spread glory above the honors of thy name. Praise the Lord, 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 praise everlasting King, praise everlasting King. Amen. Our Almighty God, we thank you for this afternoon. We thank you for your mighty power. We thank you for bringing us from far and near. We thank you for this wonderful program. Accept our thanks in Jesus' name. We thank you because you are God, the great God of heaven, the Almighty God. You have gathered us as young people to bless us, to bless our heart, to bless our soul, and also, God, for us to shine forth for you, to show forth your light and to propagate your word to all the world. That is why we're here. God, this afternoon, come into our midst in Jesus' name. Bless the program in Jesus' name. You are God. Without you, we can do nothing. But with you, we can do all things. This afternoon, every facet of this program, we pray you bless in Jesus' name. All our facilitators, all the presenters and everyone, we pray you bless us in Jesus' name. By the time this program will come to an end, we want to leave here joyful. We want to leave this place with praises. We want to go out of this place like that eunuch who left that place and was rejoicing on his way. We want to go with rejoicing. Do this and much more for us. For we pray in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
You know, I've told you that we are loaded to be ignored.
Yeah.
Loaded to be ignored. And to confirm that word, I can tell you that we are not alone here.
Yes.
Do you agree with me? We are not alone here. First, we have welcomed our chief host. And we said is who? Jesus. So now we are going to welcome the big daddies in the house. Just to show you that we are not, they didn't push us outside. Just out there to go and do our things. They are here with us, monitoring us. So we are going to welcome our hosts now in the person of Reverend Benson Adenegon. He is the ZC for Akiode. Let's clap our hands now. God bless you, sir. Tell them as wait. Reverend Benson Adenegon. And that's him. May God bless him for us in the mighty name of Jesus. Another person we are going to recognize is our father. The father of the youth in the region. In the person of Reverend Owen Richard Owen. God bless you, sir. You are welcome, sir. You know, we have so many reverend in our church. Hope you can see to it. And we are aspiring to be one, isn't it? Aspire. wants me to be a reverend? Are you afraid? Oh, don't be afraid, The Lord that help our fathers will help us in Jesus' name. We don't only have fathers, though, we also have mummies.
Oh, yes.
In the person of our mommy, Adenegan. God bless you, ma. We also have mummies with charisma. If you see that, you go, no, say this one. In the person of mom, if I don't know how to introduce now, Reverend Mommy Shola Omayaya. You're welcome, ma. You're welcome, ma. Then we also have the big organs in the house. We've introduced our big daddies and big mummies. So we have the big organs of the youth in the house. So we are going to introduce our district youth head in the person of Brother Komolafe. We also have our brother Samuel Banjoko. He is the district outreach head. God bless you, sir.
God bless you.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you.
God bless you.
We still have more of a man of God in our midst. He's a man of God. God bless you.
God bless you.
I have the privilege to also welcome Brother Bode Efutoye.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you, sir. You're welcome, sir. Alright, we also have Brother Akiode Salami, youth leader for K2.
God bless you, sir. You're welcome, sir. You're welcome, sir. God bless you, sir.
Alright, so I will briefly introduce our speakers, and by the time they will be coming for their session, we'll get to know them better. We have Brother Odutoye. Thank you for coming.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you.
Welcome. You're welcome, sir.
Sister Foluke Obaleye.
God bless you, ma. You're welcome, ma.
And also our brother John Asonia.
God bless you, sir.
God bless you.
You're welcome.
So, right about now, we'll be inviting, what did you call him? The host, our daddy. We'll be inviting him to give keynote address. God bless you.
God bless you, sir.
May God continue to bless you all. I am delighted this afternoon to see the future of apostolic faith tomorrow gathered for an occasion like this. I first of all want to recognize the presence of all those that have already been mentioned without repetition, and all protocols duly observed. Apostolic Faith Church is a unique church. Apostolic Faith is a unique church. I want to appeal to you youth. You are still young and vibrant. And therefore, I will not want a passive congregation. Since I am not preaching, I don't want to invite a loud amen. But rather, I want you to respond to each statement said here. Are you getting me? By God's grace, the spirit of revival will come over you. In Jesus' name. So on behalf of Akiode, ministers and workers and elders and congregation, as a zone, I am welcoming you to this important occasion. I have gone through the program,
And I want to tell you that you are damn lucky, very lucky indeed, to be prepared for the future. Though someone is going to tell us all what and not for you to go through in the program, so I would not want to encroach on his jurisdiction. But having gone through the program, I am amazed. And I thank God it's pre-recorded, so that we don't just do things in oblivion. I thank God for bringing you here safely. And I want to assure you that God is going to bless you abundantly. You will remember this day for good. In Jesus' name. And is the DY that is going to use the language of on behalf of the DS. I am too small to use that now. But on behalf of Akiode Church, I welcome all of you present. And we are praying that those on the way, God will bring them back here safe. In Jesus' name. You are blessed. And you are most welcome. God bless you.
Our mama just came in, and just like the I said, she's the one that will tell us on behalf of the DS. So we are going to record. Do we know the mama of the youth? If you know her, shout her name. We are going to recognize that she's in the person of Reverend Mabel Odyssey. You're welcome, ma. And she will step forward to give us, youths now, you know what we understand, that youth's language. So she will come and give us our welcome address. You're welcome, ma.
Good afternoon, everybody. Am I happy to be here? Of course, I am happy to be here. And I know you are happy to be here. Actually, this day, I've been looking forward to it for a long time. You see, my brother Benson, Adenegon, we have happened to be neighbors of circumstances. And we'll keep wondering, has God forgotten us? Has God left us here? He said, no, he doesn't forget. He said, I am just like your God. I am like your mother. Does a mother forget a child that is sucking her womb, her breast? No, they cannot forget. How much more God? God is your father. God has not forgotten you. I'm standing here today, they said, on behalf of the DS. I cannot feel it's true, but because they said I should say on behalf of the DS, so I am here to say on behalf of our DS, no other person than Reverend Adebayo Adeniran. In fact, he has an additional English name, Emmanuel, meaning that God with us. As he is away now, God is with us here. Are we not fortunate? We are. We praise God for that. May he accept our thanks. And wherever he is now, they say he's in the US, may the presence of God abide with him, his wife, and his entourage. Whatever they say, whatever they bind, may it be bound. Whatever they lose, may God loosen it. Yes, I have come here. They gave me an invitation. In fact, since yesterday, I forgot my glasses at home since yesterday, and I've not been in that home. So I've been going around like a quarter past eye. But I know it will not disturb me to welcome you. God has brought me here on time to welcome you. And may I tell you that today is a special day. And God has brought you here for a purpose. In Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form, void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the deep. And God said, let there be light. And there was light. Our founding father is here today. The God Almighty, the Trinity in one, God the Father, God the Son, God the Holy Spirit is here today. If one God is here, we will have been deprived, we will have been downchanged. But our God is a God that is 3 in 1. And so whatever blessing is giving us today is going to be multiplied in 3 places. I say whatever blessing God has for you today is going to be tripled. The Lord will do it for you. The Lord will do it for you. And the Lord will do it for you. And in John chapter 1, it says, when Jesus came, let us open that Bible. Jesus came in the beginning. He's telling us of what happened in the beginning. St. John chapter 1. I told you I have this handicap on my eyes, but it will not disturb me from welcoming you. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. Verse 2. Verse 2. The same was in the beginning with God. The same was in the beginning with God. 3. All things were made by him, and without him was not anything made. Today, without him was not anything will not be done today without that word of God. I say today, Jesus is the word, and without him today, nothing will be done. He's going to sanctify whatever is going to be done for us here this afternoon. He's going to rubber stamp it. He's going to say, let it be, and it will be. That is our God. That's the God we have come to meet this afternoon. God is here today. And whatever, no matter the small prayer made, no matter the mistake made in anybody telling you anything, today, that mistake will be turned around for your good. The Lord will say it. He will rubber stamp it. The blood of Jesus will sanctify it. And so it will be as he has said it. Whatever you are going to do today, you are going to shoot. I say you are going to shoot. The word of God says aspire. Shoot. You are not going to shoot without faith this afternoon. You are going to shoot in faith, because prayer is our tool by which we get things done by God. And you are here today with your mind filled up that God is going to answer me. I don't know what you have brought to God. That king, they said shoot. He didn't have much aim. He didn't have much ambition. He shot one time. Well, shooting, shoot again. He shot another time. Oh, shoot again. He shot 3 times. His own vision was blurred. But today, your own vision is going to be opened. You are going to shoot today, and many things will happen. Solomon shot. God says, what do you want me to do for you? He said, give me wisdom that I will go in and come out before these people. God did it for him. And many wonderful things happened. One of the greatest things that happened is that the Queen of Sheba visited King Solomon, and he testified that not half has ever been told. You are going to leave this place today, but with a testimony that the half has not been told you. In Jesus' name. Still in the life of Solomon, 2 women slept together. One of them loved sleeping too much. Slept so much that she rolled on her own baby. The baby died. God says we should aspire. God says we should shoot. And we are going to shoot positively. They took the case to King Solomon. King Solomon, you are a wise God. We have heard of you. We want you to judge the case. They told the story. King Solomon said, Abba, people, come and save me. How do I judge this case? What do I do? Go and bring a sword. They brought the sword. He said, the servant was waiting for instructions, for directives. Man, you know what you are going to do? You are going to cut these babies into how many? Two. Living baby and dead baby. The troublesome woman was saying, fine, it will not be hers. It will not be mine. But today, God's blessing will be yours. Amen. No interloper. Did you hear that? No interloper. No destiny destroyer will come in to take your destiny from you. As that woman was rejoicing, Solomon watched her and said, this is the mother of the dead one. Give the woman the living child. God is going to give you life today. You might have come here dead. I don't know what state you have come here this afternoon. But what I'm telling you is that the Lord is going to give you an answer of peace. Amen. God bless you. You are welcome.
She came with should I call him uncle? Yes, he's our uncle. Our worker youth leader is here. The person of Brother Toby Popo. You're welcome. We will be hearing from
Hey, why is this? They said our worker youth leader. But sir, please stand up. So clap.
Yes, our first speaker will be Brother O. And we'll be speaking on Aspire in relations to divine guidance.
Good afternoon, young people, and good afternoon to our fathers and mothers. God bless you all. I'm happy to be here this afternoon, and what I'll be sharing with us are just some tips that I believe can help us. I have limited time to do that, so if you have questions, we'll take it later. It says, aspire in relation to divine guidance. I'm sure the slides will soon come up. And when you think about that, I actually want to use the first page of the slide. I want to use the first page of the slide to communicate my message. So can that come up, please? If you find yourself in a place where you have no idea where you're going next, you see a road, and they tell you the road leads to greatness right in front of you. I want you to take like 10 seconds to think of what will be your next action. You suddenly find yourself in a place, as we are all here today, you find yourself in a place, and just somewhere around that area, and they tell you there's greatness ahead. What would you do? I give you 10 seconds to think about that. 10 seconds. Who wants to give it a try? We are all young people, so I would expect us to speak, or nobody talks. It's not a tell session, right? It's going to be interactive as much as possible. Someone is raising his hand there. Please go ahead. Speak. Okay, thank you. He said you move towards the place. That's good, thanks. But what else would you think of? You know it's just somewhere ahead. You are not even sure how close. You don't know the situation of the road. You don't know anything. What else would you want to do? Can I hear from you? Thank you. So she said she will pray. And that's how I want to connect what it means to aspire in relation to divine guidance. It's like a journey that you've not been on before. It's a road ahead that you don't know what it holds. Even though you know ahead of you there is greatness, you have what you want to achieve, you need someone to guide you. So these days, most of us move around. If you give me I haven't been here before, so when I was coming, I just typed the address in Google Map, and I found my way here. I didn't need to be calling anybody. They didn't need to tell me, when you get to that bridge, then you turn, how we used to do in those days. Or if you even travel out in the US, they give you a map. Those guys, they are very good with reading maps. So they'll say, just this is where you're going, just follow the map. I mean the manual ones. And that is difficult for me to follow sometimes. But if you put your address on Google Map, it's likely going to just lead you exactly to where you're going. what it means is we need someone to guide us. No matter how good you think you are, no matter how well thought out your plans are, you cannot do it alone. And that's why the Chinese, they have a proverb that says that if you want to know the road ahead, you should ask those that are returning. And in this instance, the road of life, there's nobody else that is returning from it that you can ask and say, especially your own life, because you are not going to live another person's life. So there's nobody that has gone through your life that can tell you that this is what will happen to you next year. And even if you think you have a good plan, that can change in a moment. Someone's life is going to change because the person is here today. And I mean it. I'm not saying it because I'm not acting like a pastor or anything, but I'm telling you what God does. He uses every moment of our lives to make a change in our lives. And that is why it is important that when you have opportunities to attend events like this, you take advantage of it. I have attended a training before where I used to work, and I can tell you that it changed my perspective about life. And that is what I believe God is going to do for us today in Jesus' name. Now we go to the next slide. On the next slide, I want us to define some of the things we'll be considering today. Oh, okay, I know, I'm fine. Thank you. He wants me to raise it up, but it's okay, I can say. And I can see it here as well. So it says, when you aspire, you want something very much, or you hope to achieve something, or be successful. So every time I have the Cambridge Dictionary, online dictionary, I have it on my phone, not because I don't understand the meaning of some words, but because I like to understand the root of those words. Because sometimes we use words because someone has used it before, and then you think you can use it. So it's always good to check. So as Aspire says, you want it very much, or you want to achieve something or be successful. And on the side of the slide, I've put a few things that people really wanted very much. So if you look at those three people, it's like they've climbed that mountain. So I have a colleague that likes climbing mountains, and she goes around. It's challenging. You really need to be prepared for it. You need to make up your mind that you want it. You need to be determined before you can achieve it. Or you see somebody who is graduating, and I see a lot of young people here as well. So at some point towards the end of my talk, I'll be using an example of how God helped me through school. But you see somebody raising his hand. He's doing thumbs up. He was excited. This is like a dream come true. I've always thought of this. I've always wanted to finish from school with a good result, or somebody running the marathon. In the same vein, when we say aspire, you must want it very much. You must really, really desire that thing, and then you work towards it. So what does it mean to now aspire to divine guidance? So the next slide is just going to tell us what it means when you say something is divine. It says it is connected with, or like God. So you can see the image of somebody praying, asking for guidance. Because we really need that. I always think about it, and sometimes I actually say to my wife as well, there are some things that we can call our strengths, and we have our weaknesses. I'm even talking professionally and academically. You see somebody who is very good in mathematics, just wake him up and he's solving it for you. And then maybe he struggles a bit with English language, and maybe he can pick up other subjects. So one of my managers shared her experience. She was really good in mathematics. Of course, she grew up to become an engineer, but she wasn't too good in English language. And then she said, and not that she wasn't too good, she was actually troubled by handwriting. So they won't be able to read, they were not able to read what she wrote. And then she felt she would be okay with a pass. So she was going to get into the university with a pass. Back then, to be honest, I don't know what things today, but back then with a pass in English language, and if you do excellently well in other courses where she had A, you can get into the university. So she told her mom that I'll try my best, but that's good enough. And so that was what happened. She had 6 distinctions, and then she had a pass in English, and she was going to get into the University of Benin. And that year they said we no longer take a pass. If she passed with the same results the year before, she had 6 A's, I think 2 credits. If it was just the year before, she would have gone into the university. But that year, she couldn't. This is why there's always divine connection to whatever we do. No matter how perfect your plan is, Then guidance says to get help and advice about something or about how to deal with problems connected with your work, education, personal relations. These are definitions that I actually took straight from the dictionary. And the reason why I did that is so that we can all connect to it and know I'm not just using my words. So this is telling you that you need somebody to guide you, whether it's with your work, whether it's with your education, whether it's with your personal relationships. You just cannot do it alone. That is where this conversation will start this afternoon. And then we'll consider some other things. So it says divine guidance is simply help from God to help us with life, with anything we want to deal with problems, and with our plans generally. So on the next slide, I'll be taking us to why we actually need divine guidance. So I mentioned it earlier that if you find yourself in a road, what would be the first thing that you do? Just imagine this road. Because in life is like a journey. In fact, life is actually a journey. I remember in one of the books I read from John Maxwell, he said he was trying to define success. And in my head, I was also trying to define it as I was reading the book. So I wanted to be sure my definition would make sense at the end of the book. So I was thinking, what would success really mean to me? But success is a journey. Success is a journey. You can say, this is what I want to achieve today. As soon as you're achieving it, you are thinking of something else. You are setting other goals for yourself. You are setting other aspirations for yourself. If you are now in that journey that you do not know what lies ahead except if you speak to someone divine, it then shows that people can be confused, which is what that second image is speaking to. Imagine finding yourself at a crossroad. You say, this way? Is it that way? Is it another way? And we make such decisions every day or almost every day, and we take them for granted. Because what I said, I know someone's life is going to change here, and I said I'm not a pastor because I didn't want people to start thinking, oh, the pastor is not speaking. And I'm saying it because I actually mean it. Because people have attended programs like this, and things just changed for them. If I give an example of something that is still in progress, which I know God himself will perfect, of someone that attended a program like this, she raised her hand to ask a question about, okay, now I actually want to become a doctor, an academic doctor, and on and on she was asking. Someone watching from the US saw her, called and asked, that, who is that lady? I said, well, I think I know her. Can you connect me? I can actually bring her over to continue her studies. Just because she asked a question in a forum like this. That is all. So I tell my wife sometimes, I tell God, even when I want to ask questions, let God guide me. Let God lead me into what to say. And I have examples where I've also asked questions like that, and to the glory of God, the question I asked actually brought the opportunity I was looking up to for me. So you're at work, usually maybe the leaders, they come to speak to you, and then when they finish speaking, they say, does anybody have any question here? Some people ask questions like that and ruin their careers completely. Because they just ask irrelevant questions and their careers will just die right there and then. So on that basis we ask, and just by asking, that question will open doors of opportunities for them. But how do you know what to ask? How do you even know which program to attend? If you have competing priorities, how do you know what to do first? If you need to make a choice about life, some of which we will mention very soon, how do you know what to do? Some people would think they can do it by themselves or look for help somewhere else. And that's why if you see the first part, Proverbs 3:5-7, which I like a lot, it talks about us committing our ways to the Lord. Can someone just open it and read it for us quickly? Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5-7, just those two verses. Quickly, please. Is anybody ready to? Please go ahead. Proverbs 3 from verse 5.
Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, and lean not unto thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy path.
Go on to 7.
7. Be not wise in thy own eyes, fear the Lord, and depart from evil.
Thank you. That's fine. So the instruction there is clear. Don't do it all by yourself. Don't think you know it all. And may God help us in Jesus' name. Then some other people will trust in things that cannot really help. And because I'm speaking to students now, because we have some students around us, I'll give some examples. You want to write an exam, and you would already know, even before writing the exam, some people will be preparing to cheat. Right? How does that help? How does that really take you to your aspiration? How does it move you to where God wants you to be? So though we have examples that are maybe like related to adults, where it talks about people trusting in broken systems, people who do not believe in God. God is trying to help you. You can read, you can work hard, you can pray, and then some other person will choose to cheat. May we not be like that in Jesus' name. And the Holy Spirit is also always there to guide us. And that's why in Isaiah it says, the wayfarer, even though they are fools, they will not miss it. May we not err in Jesus' name. Then I'll take us just to some examples of how we can invite God into our lives in the next slide. Now, this first quote says, I will prepare, and someday my chance will come. That's Abraham Lincoln. It's very important that we keep things like this in mind. If you want to succeed in life, you have to be ready. You have to prepare yourself. I personally do not believe in shortcuts to academic success or anything you are doing in life. I believe that if you pray well, if you commit your ways to God, if you prepare well, God himself will guide you and he will lead you. And may God do that for us in Jesus' name. So what are some critical decisions you make when it comes to academics? Even the choice of the school you want to go to. Sometimes we just take some of these things for granted. We say, I think I like that school. Or the choice of your course of study. It is only God that can really choose for you. I have been in school with someone that was struggling with engineering. His CGPA was terrible because I saw it. There was no way he could have graduated with the way he was going. And then he made a switch. He was in his 4th year, and then he had to go back to his 2nd year, because that's what happens if you leave a department to study another course. He went to 2nd year in another course. I think it was business administration that he went to study, and he finished with a 2-1. And then when he finished with a 2-1, he started consulting. He even worked for one of the big fours. So when you talk about the big fours, people who are doing professional services will know what you mean. You're talking about Deloitte, talking about PwC, talking about KPMG, talking about Ernst & Young. These are places that people just dream of, even having the opportunity to work there. But if he had studied, if he had continued with engineering, he would have failed woefully. Now, let us now go back in time and imagine that when he actually wanted to get to school the first time, God directed him to go to business administration, straight up. So he wouldn't have wasted the years he spent trying to study engineering, right? So I think the point I'm trying to make to us is that in whatever we do, and I've just used that example, there are many other examples in life where we do different things, where we think, okay, what we are doing is good, it's fine. Like I said, I will wrap it up with my own example later, but you think, okay, this is good, and that's what I want to do. But God has something different for you. That's why we need to seek his guidance. And then the Bible says the fear of the Lord is what? Is the beginning of wisdom. So therefore we must always have the fear of God in our hearts. Let us go to Daniel chapter 9 verse 2. Daniel chapter 9 verse 2, quickly. Anybody that sees it should please read for us quickly.
Daniel chapter 9 verse 2.
Yes, please.
In the first year of his reign, I, Daniel, understood by books the number of the years, whereof the word of the Lord came to Jeremiah the prophet, that he would accomplish 70 years in desolation of Jerusalem.
Thank you, that's fine. He said, I, Daniel, understood by books. You see, there are some Bible characters that I like a lot, because I like intelligent people. People who are smart. So when you think about what Daniel did in a strange land, I'm always like, wow, This guy, he was a slave, but was not limited by that. But Daniel said he understood by books. That means he gave himself to studying his books. It didn't just happen by chance. We can all come here today and we sing, then we say we want to be like Daniel, I want to be like Joseph. But you also need to know that these people worked hard for whatever they became. And that is why they could trust them with positions like that. So you ask yourself, as a young person, did you really take time to study? Because I've heard some funny things before, even if you say, oh, and that, well, like I said, you need divine guidance, so of course I'm not downplaying that. But even if you refuse to study, let's even say you now pray and you see a vision of what the questions will be, how would you even be able to understand what you are supposed to answer because you have not studied it anyway? You must seek to understand by books. It's in the Word of God. We didn't write these things, and may God help us in Jesus' name. And the other one told Timothy to show himself approved by studying. Let's just quickly look at it. 2 Timothy 2:15. Quickly, 2 Timothy 2:15. And the slides are there, so we can just try and open some of the passages. We won't take everything, but just open some of them so that when we want to take them, you can quickly read.
2:15. Study to show thyself approved unto God, a workman that needed not to be ashamed.
Thank you, sir. Because of time, we won't take everything. Study. The instruction is clear. Study to show thyself approved of God. Even while you are working, you need to what? Continue to study. And may God help us. So we'll go back to the slides. And then the next thing on the slides that I want to say is that the Spirit of God gives understanding. Do we believe that? Sometimes we are trying to study something, and I studied engineering, by the way, and I remember an instance where we were trying to solve a question in school back then. And it was almost like we knew the question was going to come out. And I was with friends who were very smart, but we couldn't solve it. But just before the exam, God just helped us and we were able to solve it. And we were able to understand what we were meant to do. And it came out. The Spirit of God gives understanding. You cannot know it all without God helping you. And that's in Job. Job chapter 32 verse 8. It says, but there is a spirit in man, and the inspiration of the Almighty giveth understanding. Please, let us always invite God, and I'm sure He will help us. We are still on the slide before this. Now, on that slide, I talked about successful career. It says, for professionals, there are some decisions that we would make that I call them critical decisions. They can make or mar you. Choice of where you want to start building your career. Some people study engineering in school and you start with one of the professional services, like I said, and you do excellently well. I was going through the directors in Zenith Bank at one point in time, and I found out a guy there studied engineering, finished the first class, but became a director in the bank. He was successful. I tell you, that person had gone to practice the same engineering he studied, he might have failed. So how do you then decide that you want to start working tomorrow without inviting God? How? Just how? Even abroad, we can say, oh, it's because there is no job in Nigeria, people are just trying to do whatever they find. I was reading about people abroad, profiles of people abroad, who left what they studied completely and did something else, and they excelled. So may God help us even as we make those decisions, where you want to stay, what you want to do. So there was a time in my place of work, there was a choice between me staying back in the Niger Delta or coming to the West. And then I prayed to God to guide me. And God gave me a verse in the Bible that I still like to use it today. And it was about Naphtali. And he said, oh Naphtali, satisfied with favor and full with the blessings of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. I got the message from there. Because this Nigeria is the southwest. I was still doubting whether I should stay back in the south-south or I should come to the south-south. I was southwest. My supervisor then wanted me to stay back in the south-south. But God said, full, satisfied with favor and full with the blessing of the Lord, possess thou the west and the south. So there are different ways to which God communicates with us. We need to know that. That is very, very important. And one of the things I'll talk about when we eventually want to round up, about how God speaks to us from time to time. So I see that I'm running out of time. If you go to the next slide talks about
being successful in our businesses. People have business models, we have business strategies, we have all of that. How do you decide how to run your business without God? How do you decide even the person to partner with or how to raise funds? People do crowdfunding for agricultural ventures now. Who came up with that idea? Why wasn't it you? Why wasn't it me? Why didn't you think about it? So that's why you need God in your business, in your model, in your strategy, even choice of artisanship, what you want to do. You want to become a plumber? So I try to talk about those who are in professional fields in the first part, and now I'm talking about even people who have their businesses. The choice of that, you need God, you need divine guidance. And then a lot of other things that we do, that we need God to help us with. We want to have a godly home. We want to build a successful business, like I said. You want to make inventions. We'll see in the next slide now, because of time, because I said I have just a few minutes to go. Here, I just gave examples. Yeah, I'll be rounding up now. Here, if you look at it, the time is really short, so I'm sorry, but we have to take it. It says, this is a former president of the US. He says, I believe with all my heart that standing up for America means standing up for the God who has so blessed our land. We need God's help to guide our nation through stormy seas, but we can't expect him to protect America in crisis if we just leave him over the shelf in our day-to-day living. So that's the former president of the US acknowledging that he needs God in whatever the nation needs to do. Or if you look quickly at Isaac Newton, how was he studying about his work even in my final year in the university? He was one of the greatest scientists that have ever lived. But he said gravity explains the motions of the planets, which is true. But it cannot explain who set the planets in motion. God governs all things and knows all that is or can be done. So the first thing I remember from one of my geography classes then, the teacher told us, he said, God created heaven and earth, he created the sun, he created the moon, and then the stars. So when you go back to school and they tell you that, oh, this is gravitation, this and that, those things are true, but God actually created them. Someone who has studied them a lot is saying here that you may try to understand how those things work, but you don't understand how they were put in place. And then the last quote I have there says, I believe the power of God to make money is a gift. I believe the power to make money is a gift from God, just as the instincts for art, music, literature, the doctor's talent, the nurses, yours to be developed and used to the best of our ability for the good of mankind. This man, George Rockefeller, he was the owner of Standard Oil back then, and I was able to visit his town when I traveled, which they don't usually talk about. He had money, but he still acknowledged that it was through God. So there are a lot of other examples that I've listed here, and I pray that God will help us to tune our mind to divine guidance in whatever we do. Because he says you will hear a voice behind you, and it will tell you where to go, and it will tell you what to do. And I pray that God will help us to do it. Can you go to the last slide because of time? On this last slide now, I just talked about how you can seek God's guidance, how you can seek divine guidance. We need to pray, we need to have our Christian experiences, we need to study the word of God, we need to believe and be willing to obey, we need to document our vision. And if you're not going to take anything away from here today, please take this one, because it's very important. People take things like this for granted. Document your vision, where you want to be in 5 years. When they say write it down, I have written it down before, where I used to work, and I told God where I wanted to be, what I wanted to be in 5 years. It didn't even look real to me. I hadn't created a roadmap when I wrote it down, but it worked. It worked. So in Habakkuk 2:2, which is not there, he says, write it down, make it plain. Make it plain. What you want to accomplish, where you want to get to, what you want to achieve. This is very important for me, that you do it, that in the next 5 years, this is where I want to be. If you did that in 2016 when they said we started this program, I would have been asking where you are in that journey today. And I know God himself is going to help you. Now he says, in any given moment in life, we have two options. You can either step forward into growth or you step back into safety. If on a single day you suddenly came alive and chose to express who you are and to pursue what you truly desire of life, let this be that day. The last example I want to give of myself quickly, just to bring this home. I wrote JAM many years ago, but before I wrote it, I went to the corner of my house, I put JAM, I put WAEC, I put NECO. I put all the exams I wanted to write, and anyone that passed, I would go and underline it. And it wasn't because I was afraid I would pass, but because I just wanted to follow through and be able to thank God for it. So when I finished with WAEC, I underlined it, NECO I underlined it, but I couldn't underline JAM, because when I went to ask for my results, they said my result was not on file. And then I came back home, and I started preparing for the following year. And then he slept one day and I dreamed that I was in the university campus. And I'm not saying this because I want you to be confused with dreams, but if God shows you something positive, chase it. You get my point? I don't want you to be confused with dreams but if God shows you something positive, chase it. I woke up and I wrote a letter handwritten to the registrar of JAMB then, and I explained to him that I didn't understand why my result would have been seized because I didn't cheat. I didn't even like the idea of cheating in exams anyway because I feel that whatever you don't earn, you will lose it one way or the other. The letter was sent. Months later, in fact it was the following year when I was preparing for the JAMB the next time, that my dad came home one day with a letter. And I tore the letter almost right through it because I didn't even know what to expect. And it was an admission letter to the University of Lagos. And I came to Lagos, my result was there waiting. Why it didn't get to where I was living there, I don't know. So may God help us. As He shows us these things, may He give us the grace to follow His divine guidance. And that is important. I want to say this because I was a semester late. The only thing that saved me, University of Lagos, they weren't going on strike then for years, but that year they protested against the VC, and after I was able to come in. The following year, they did not take people who didn't do further mathematics in secondary school. I studied technical drawing. Unilag was my second choice. They didn't take anybody that made them second choice. But I got in before all of that. And that is what I want you to know, that when God leads you, you will never miss it. May God help us.
May God bless our brother in Jesus' name. When God leads you, you will never miss it. So, we are going to go over to our second program. We are inviting the person of Sister Foluke Opaleye. She's to take us on Aspire in relations to academics and professional pursuits. Our profile is being displayed up this. So we are welcoming our Sister Foluke Opaleye. A round of applause for her.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's a privilege to be here. I want to start by saying I have some slides here, but I like to be very free and practical. Is that okay? So I might not really follow the slides, but it would be the general theme of my discussion, okay? So what I want to do this afternoon is talk about career and academic aspiration, and I'm going to be sharing a lot of my own personal journey, my own personal story, because I believe someone can learn from that. I learned from some people in time past, and I believe someone would be blessed today. For the people that know me very well, I'd rather be at the back listening to what is being said, but I'm trusting the Holy Spirit to give me utterance, and I'm trusting that someone will be ignited this afternoon and someone will be inspired to aspire in Jesus' name. So I want to start by talking about what, I don't want to really talk about what aspiration is because we've kind of overflogged that already. But what I want to start by saying is that for every young person, any young person that doesn't have an aspiration or have aspirations, it's a very terrible thing. In fact, it's like you just being a boat on the sea and just being tossed to and fro. And you know, people say things about no future ambition. I know you've heard phrases like that before. So for a young person full of energy, full of life, full of potential, not having aspiration is a terrible thing. So I just want us to start on that note, noting that it is terrible for a young person not to have aspiration. Okay? So I would move along to talk about purpose. Because for me, thank you. I think for me the big question is, why are we here? Why am I on earth? So if in talking about aspiration, I think the starting point should be purpose. Why am I here on earth? What was I created for? Did I create myself? No. So since I didn't create myself, who created me? Let's be very participating and let's make it interactive. Thank you. Who created me? Who created you? So who is going to give you a purpose? Who is your manufacturer? Okay, and there's a popular saying that says when purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable. So So if you do not know the purpose of which God has brought you to earth in the first place, then you will just be all over the place. Life without purpose is a life without meaning. And I have on the slide there a picture that depicts what purpose is, and is an intersection of a number of things. There's some questions you can ask yourself that would reflect what your purpose truly is. So you start by saying, what do I love to do? Naturally, as a person, what do I love to do? What am I gifted to do? And then you look at what you are actually very good at doing. You also look at what you can be paid for. So all those things that you're gifted to do, is there a possibility of you being paid for it? And then what the world really needs. So I want to hammer on a particular point on purpose. So a lot of people have purpose and they say, oh, I want to be this, I want to be that, and it's all about themselves. But I want to establish a truth this evening that it is not about you. It's really about what you have to offer the world. So let's start on that premise, noting that it is not about us, it's about the plan God has for us and what we are gifted to come and do on earth. Okay? Okay. So I have on the slide here, living a life of purpose is the key to true happiness and fulfillment. If you can't answer the question of why are you here, like I said earlier, you will just be wandering all over the place. And without God, life has no purpose. And without purpose, life has no meaning. Without purpose, life is motionless, without meaning. It's just activity, mere activity without direction. So you can imagine if you're going somewhere and you don't know where you're going. So you will just be wasting energy, constituting a nuisance, and you will just be there. So you can imagine someone coming to this earth and not knowing what they were here to do. It's a terrible thing. If your life purpose is your driving force, then it will determine your choices and your decision in life, including your career. So if, your life purpose is the driving force moving you, helping you make decisions, then it would also help you in making career choices as well. And that's where career aspiration comes in. I would also like to say that your career should be an opportunity for you to serve your purpose. So you shouldn't be doing something that you hate to do. There are a lot of people that go to work and they barely go through the day. They just appear, but they are not engaged, they are not involved, they hate their jobs. So where you can find true happiness and fulfillment is actually doing something that you are gifted to do, that you are happy to do, and that synchronizes with your purpose. So we see that purpose is a very, very important theme, and I'm glad that last year that was the theme for the youth program. So I know we're very familiar with that. Okay, without much ado, I'll just go into the main concept that I want to talk about this afternoon. I want to talk about vision, because I think it's very, very, very essential in choosing your career aspiration or having academic aspiration. I would also talk about goal setting, and then I will talk about some other things that I think we should be mindful of and which can also help us along our career journey. I have a lot of stuff on the slide. I understand it's going to be shared, so let's just talk. My intent this afternoon is just to talk, because I know we young people, we like to gist. We don't like things being too formal, so we'll just talk. And I'm going to talk a lot about myself, like I said earlier. Not that I consider myself to have apprehended. I'm still work in progress, but there are some things that have worked for me in time past that I would share. Okay, so I want to talk about starting with the end in mind. So I realized, talking to a lot of people, I realized a lot of people going to school and they just want to have fun because that's their first time of having any form of freedom. So I have a lot of classmates that, they will say things like, oh, my first year, my second year, I just played because, it was just an experience for me, it was a new experience. But I was a bit fortunate, I would say. I was blessed. So there was a day my mom came back home, and then I think I was probably just finished SSC. And she said to me, oh, there's someone we know that the person's daughter just got a job at Otto Anderson. Then Otto Anderson used to be one of the big fours, for those that are very familiar with professional services organization. So she said to me that she was encouraging her to encourage us that we should start early when we get into school. So she had a 2-1 from University of Ibadan, and then she got a job with Otto Anderson. So she was saying to me that without a 2-1, basically, you can't do anything. So I'm kind of fortunate because that was kind of like my driving force. So I kind of had a mental picture before I even got into school. So getting into UI, I just went straight for it. And thankfully, God really helped me. I'll share my experiences that I had that indicates that it's not of him that willeth, nor of him that runneth, but of God that showeth mercy. And it's the grace of God that propels folks. So I started off, thinking, this is what I'm going for. So my vision was clear. I knew where I was directing my efforts, and the picture was very clear in my mind where I was going. And I think that's what aspiring is all about. So young people aspire to what they see around them and in everyday life, and it can be difficult to aspire to a future you never see or you don't know exists. So talking about this point, it's very important for us to get information. So we need to have a mental picture of where we are going. And if we don't have people around us that seem to be going to where we're going, probably because they're not in our line of business, it's good to always find someone that has succeeded in that line and just zone in on that person and see what the person has done over time that has made them successful. I would say vision keeps you on course to fulfill your purpose. So there's a relationship between purpose and vision. And your vision is a picture of what you aspire to and what inspires you. Your vision defines your career aspirations. So if your vision is clear, you know what you're adding, it will also help you to make the decisions, like I said earlier. So for instance, if you know that you want to be a teacher, like I had a friend in UI back then, that when we got into UI, she decided to just do a course in education because our purpose is to impact the next generation. And she was very clear about it from the get-go. So it wasn't a difficult thing when people were talking to her and asking her, why are you doing a course in education? You know the way we see teachers around here. So Joe is a very noble profession, but we have not really appreciated our teachers. So people make comments like, oh, why are you doing this? You're so smart. Why a course in education? But she knew what her purpose was. She knew what her purpose was, and she had a mental vision. She had a mental picture of where she was going. So talk about what she does today. She works in one of the prominent private schools. She's done her master's in education. She's gotten awards as a teacher. She's fulfilled. She's doing great. So, I mean, if she did not start with the end in mind, she would have been derailed probably because somebody said something, or go study accounting. She would have gone to study accounting. Meanwhile, that's not in line with our purpose or our vision. So your vision defines your career aspirations. And having a vision of who you want to be and what you want to do helps you. Just visualize your best life. Where do you want to see yourself in the next 5-10 years? Create a mental picture. So visualization is a very key thing in talking about vision. And the Bible too says it in various forms. When God told Abraham to look as far as his eyes can see. So I want to ask you this evening, Akiode youth, how far can your eyes see? Because it's as far as your eyes can see that you would go. So you need to get your picture very accurate. And it's not just your physical eyes, it's your spiritual eyes, which is the most important. You need to have foresight, and that comes from the Holy Spirit. You need to know where you are heading. You need to know what lies ahead of you. What has God lined you up for? That has to be very clear in your mind. There's a verse in the Bible that says, the vision has to be clear. And even though it tarries, it's for an appointed time, it will surely come. So you need to be clear as to where you're going. I remember when I was much younger, when I was still in school studying sociology, I used to think to myself, okay, so what will I do when I'm done with school? What will I do with sociology? I knew that I could do a lot of things with sociology. I thought of going into academics or research. I thought about a lot of stuff. But there was a day I saw a mental picture of myself interviewing people. And I mean, I've been working since 2006. That's all I've done. I've been in recruiting for almost my entire career. But because I saw it back then, I saw myself talking to people, trying to assess their suitability for a job. It's just something that flashes in your mind and you kind of key into, and it stirs something in you and it makes you happy. So I want to encourage everybody here today that it's very important for you to have a clear vision. Your vision has to be clear, and how far can you see? Because it's how far that you can see that you would go. There are people that have used visualization techniques to keep things in their very front, so that it can help them in keeping their eyes on their vision. So you can have a vision board. And what is a vision board? It's just you doing clippings. You can get a picture of the kind of house that you want to have. a picture of the kind of, maybe a picture of someone that is doing the kind of job that you're doing, something that stirs something inside of you. Put it on a place where you can see, and just positively look at it every day and keep it in sight. Because you can only look at things spiritually, you also need a physical reminder of where you're going. So you see a lot of people young people going into university, and you wonder why they misbehave. They are not misbehaving because they just like to misbehave, but they don't have a vision. Because if you really do have a vision, you will not be doing some things that other people are doing. You will know that this is why I am here, and you focus on it. So may God open our eyes of understanding and give us clear vision for our mission in Jesus' name. The Bible also says in Proverbs 29:18, where there is no vision, the people perish. It's a deadly thing not to have vision. And none of us will fall into that pit in Jesus' name. Okay. So I'll talk a bit about developing a career vision statement. And we have an handout on this, so I will not really talk about it in depth. The handouts will be shared. So it's just all about you making your vision plain and articulating it and writing it down. The Bible says write the vision and make it plain, so that those that want, they may run with it. So you write it down, and it would help you describe your future landscape and your purpose. But in doing this, you need to carve out quality time. It's not something you would just do in a hurry and just write it down. It's something you need to really think about based on all the things we've talked about, your purpose, your vision, where you're going. You sit down and you write a statement. This is where I see myself in the next 10 years. There are examples of career vision statement that I want to share. Like you climbing up the organizational hierarchy to top management, that is like a statement. Or achieving the maximum earning in a short period of time in order to retire early or to open a new business. So you have to make it clear and write it down and run with it. Some questions you can ask yourself: where would you like to be in your career in 5 years? Where would you like to be in your career in 10, 15 years? And it's amazing because, like I said, I do a lot of interviewing. And I see young people come into the interview room and they flunk this question. I mean, for an employer, that's an indication of the fact that you don't even know where you're going. So why would I want to employ you? So it's something that needs to be very clear and articulate. If I wake you up now and I ask you, where do you see yourself in 5 years? You should be able to tell me in a statement. I see myself doing this. I see myself being here. And I see myself achieving this in my career. It's something that I'm very passionate about because it kind of really upsets me when I see young, vibrant people that are smart come into the interview room and they cannot even talk about where they're going. It's very, very embarrassing. So I would encourage everyone to take time to write this down and know it by heart. Know where you're going in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years, in 20 years. And I mean, as you go, you will keep revising and refining it, but just keep it very visible in your sight and let it be something that drives you. Say it to yourself out loud: I'm going to be this, I'm going to be the CEO of this company very soon. We are pressed for time, so I'll just run through this very quickly. Another concept I want to talk about is goal setting. So in having a vision, you also have to have an strategic actionable plan. And that's what I call goal setting. And it has to be smart. Smart being specific, measurable, attainable, something that you can achieve, relevant and timely. So some people just have goals of, oh, I want to be this, but it's not something that is realistically achievable. So you have to have all these things at the back of your mind when you're setting your career goals. It has to be very specific, it has to be measurable, so I can measure my progress as we go, and it's something that is actually within my reach to do. And it also has to be relevant and timely. Career goals can be defined in terms of a short to medium and long-term time frame, and it's wise for you to consider short-term goals that fit into your long-term goals. So for instance, you want to increase your performance metrics on the job because you want to get a promotion in the future. So it's kind of working together to your long-term goal. And this is also another question that we tend to ask in interviews and people don't really know what to say. So I mean, I'm giving you some expo here now. So it's good for you to sit down and understand where you're heading. That's the long and short of what I'm saying. I won't talk a lot about this as well because it's also in the handout that I talked about. But your career goals should reflect your professional vision. So your vision and your goals should kind of tie into each other. And we have some tips here on setting effective goals. I would want to talk about the fact that being prepared is very, very essential. You cannot afford to be lazy. I realize that a lot of us Christians, we do what we call faith without works. God has said it and it would happen. But we keep forgetting that there is a place for us to also be diligent. There are people in the Bible that God had given them the dream, the vision. They didn't just sit down and fold their hands. They were still diligent at it. So we should be the most hardworking people actually in the workplace, because we have a lot of encouragement in Proverbs in the Bible that talks about the lazy man, the slothful person. It says, go to the ants, you sloth, consider the ways of the ants and be wise. So we have a lot of encouragement in the Bible, things that says things about is the diligent man that will be rich, things like that. So we need to be very prepared. It's success is when opportunity meets with preparation. Another thing I want to say is let's focus. So I have a picture here that shows the track when people are on a race. So all of us, we are on our own race, and we tend to get distracted when somebody is kind of running ahead of us, not knowing that the person's vision or where their destination is different from ours. So let's focus on our vision, let's run our race, let's stay on our lane. And when you stay on your lane, you have a direct line of sight to your vision, and we will succeed doing that. Another important thing, last but not the least, is the fact that we need to network. You need your association matters. Like I said earlier, when you see people around you that are doing well, doing exciting jobs, contributing, helping others, stay around them, talk to them in your industry, in your field. Look for somebody that is doing great stuff and just key into whatever they are doing. Talk to them, ask for advice, ask them to mentor you, ask them to coach you, and the sky will be the beginning for all of us. I will end the discussion this evening by talking about the life of Joseph. For me, Joseph is just the most inspiring story that I can see in the Bible. Considering the fact that he had vision, he had a dream based on his relationship with God, he was able to see where he was going. He had a dream, and despite the fact that he had a lot of detours on the way, there were a lot of tribulations that he still got there. So I pray that all of us will be inspired to aspire in Jesus' name. Thank you.
So the next speaker will be coming up, and he's going to, they say is Nexus. I don't even know the meaning of Nexus, but what they explained to me at the backstage there is that Nexus is Nexus is bringing the first speaker and the second speaker together. No, bringing what the first speaker and the second speaker said. Nexusing it together. I don't know if that exists. Alright, so that's what it's going to do, Sha. So our next speaker is going to come up. Brother John Asokia. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Akiode, for the opportunity today. The folks at Akiode have done a good job crafting the core discussions that we've considered today, and as I understand, my role is to emphasize the contributions of the last two speakers, Brother Hope and Sister Fuluke, and I really pray that God will inspire somebody in Akiode today. Someone will be marked for greatness in Akiode today. Someone will be marked for excellence. I usually like energized amen, not because of the sector that I work, but can I have a more responsive amen? Amen. Amen. If you look at the covering slide there, you would see a connector. So Brother Hope spoke about divine guidance, and Sister Fuluke spoke about academic and professional aspirations, and you're just wondering, there's a link between all of these things that they've spoken about. If I can ask a question, should we just finish the discussion today and say all that you need to succeed is to have divine guidance? Would that be sufficient? Would that be sufficient? That's a good foundation to live here with. But in addition to that, we want you to know that your divine guidance, relying totally on God, can make you incredible. It can make you phenomenal. It can make you all that you need to be. I pray that God will help you. I've also got very good news for you. I've got a house somewhere for somebody in China, and we're going to look at the house very quickly. Tell me if you like it, and I would see if I can get you on board. But looking at the word Nexus, the word Nexus means connecting, So I'm going to try to string all of these things together quickly, and hopefully we'll be able to discuss more later. So have a look at the picture of your house in China. Somebody likes that house? Somebody likes that. It's a 13-story building in China. Does anyone like that house? It's somewhere in Shanghai. Anyone likes that house? What's defective about that house? That house was built, it's bricks, and layered up till it got to 13 stories. And shortly after it was constructed, the whole building collapsed. But what is epic about that building is usually when a house is toppled, so when a house collapses, you are likely going to find the house in different parts. But with this building, one house collapsed, everything intact, the windows intact. But is this house useful to anybody? Can I hear a better response? Is this house useful to anybody? It's not useful. And so as we consider what the two previous speakers have highlighted, if you have guidance and if you have academic aspirations and it's not located in divine guidance, it may not really be useful. Maybe you could have some level of achievement, but that's not where God wants you to end. God wants to take you to the zenith. Not because Brother Hope worked with Zenith Bank. God can take you to the highest level. I pray that that will be your testimony. And so with a well-crafted career plan, you write the 5-year goal and everything, if you don't locate it in divine guidance, it's going to be useless. You are not going to achieve all that you should achieve before you hit the grave. Maybe the trumpet is going to sound. But God wants you to fully exalt yourself. God wants you to fully express yourself. And God wants you to be all that you can be. May God help you. And in the next slide, I don't know if you could see the flowers here. Anyone likes flowers in the church today? Anyone likes flowers? Now, the thing with flowers, just the way we looked at that building, you don't go to each individual plant, so let's say a rose, trying to make it the best that it can be. What will determine how well the plants will blossom is the atmosphere, the ground condition, and so how well nourished, maybe they applied fertilizer before doing the planting. And the point I'm making here is that with all of the lofty, fine, beautiful plans that God can help you to design today, if it's not embedded, if it's not underlaid with divine guidance, you're not going to go as far as you should. I pray that God will take you to the highest levels that you should get to. And realizing our academic and professional aspirations depend fully or relying solely on God. We've had many personal testimonies, and as I go through this, I will share a few as much as I can. You will see that most ideas and aspirations, when you write it on paper, they've challenged us today to write something on a board outside. We could say we want to be the OPEC boss, we want to be the GMD of NMPC. I mean, all the sounding parastatals in the country, we can mention them. But if we have all of these designs and they are good on paper, and they are not backed up by God's plan for our lives, we are still not going to get anywhere with them. I pray that God will help us to reflect deeply today before we leave and make us all that we can be. Again, sometimes you have people with very compelling aspirations. You see them, you like them, but they can't fly because God is not in it. God is not in that plan. Maybe you haven't gotten to the point that you want to be. You haven't found a job. You've tried to go through school. You've done a master's. People are even getting PhDs today, not because they want to lecture, but just because they think it's a pedestal to get the right opportunities they want. If you can locate that plan in God's divine guidance today, that plan will not remain the same. May that be your testimony. The God factor makes a lot of difference. And most times, divine guidance comes from meeting God's conditions. And so one quick example is the example you have when you read through the book of Isaiah chapter 58, where God listed a lot of conditions. If you can keep the Sabbath, if you can give to the poor, these are just a few set of conditions. You have many more conditions in your one-on-one relationship with God. God will tell you, I want to make this happen. But this is the starting point. The starting point, as we highlighted today, is getting saved, getting sanctified, getting baptized with the Holy Ghost and fire. If that can happen in your life today, your life certainly will not remain the same. My story is not one big story, but my story is one of extreme academic non-performance. So I wasn't good at all. In the class I could be good, but when it comes to the real time to know who is good and who is poor, I wasn't able to pass as I wanted. I was always a probation type candidate. But when God made the difference in my life when I was only in JS2, I I can tell you that life hasn't been the same from that point. That moment marked the turning point in my life. May God give you a turning point today as well. From being a non-score when I was in younger classes, I finished school in SS2. I didn't even have to go to SS2, to SS3. The good thing is my mom is in church today, and I can remember telling them, you know what, I've cleared the papers I need to go into university with. It was unbelievable knowing where I was coming from. God can change that your past. God can change your past and put you on a path for success. May that be your testimony. And we don't want to dwell too much on what has been said before. As we move to the next slide, what we want to consider quickly is how do we take action? If you hear a lot of things, write the plan, do this and do that, and we don't have any definite plan to take action, all of the talk today will have been wasted, and my prayer is that it will not be lost on you. And as we sit in church today, you can reflect and say, what really are my academic and spiritual aspirations? Don't limit it to the pursuit of happiness. Happiness is actually located in God alone. Make sure that you have a clear path to your career. Make sure that you have a clear path to your spiritual life. If you achieve all that you can achieve on earth and lose eternity, you will have wasted your life. And I pray that your life will not be a wasted one. And so I don't want you to just sit there in church saying, oh, these are good vibes, I really like what I hear. Ask yourself with these plans again, are they reasonable? And if so, are they actionable? Can I achieve any of them? Don't write everything in the world. I remember a few weeks ago, I spoke at an event, and shortly after the event, some guys started calling me, oh, we want to discuss a really big idea with me. I said, fine, let's discuss it. But, I mean, it wasn't coherent. In 5 minutes, he was switching from one idea to another. And it became very unclear in my mind what he really wanted. Maybe you are like that here today. Ask God to help you find that path. And God will put you on that path today. How do you set out to achieve these goals? Like previous speakers have highlighted, a goal without a plan is just wishful thinking. I don't want you to live the church being just someone wishing. God wants you to start acting, and I pray that God will help you today. And ask yourself again, where does divine guidance, at what point will that come in? So we've talked about it, we said the two are interlinked. What is the starting point? The starting point is really the divine guidance. That's what you need to build on. If you look at that building that I considered in the first slide, we lawyers are used to saying that you can't put something on nothing and expect it to stand. It will certainly crumble. So also with your spiritual, academic, or whatever it could be, God wants you to locate it on a definite plan. And I pray that God helps you today. And sometimes, even with divine guidance, it wouldn't necessarily mean that we will have all the details. And this is a point I would like you to take note of. Many times, as we write our plans, we want to take the rooftop approach. So if you get on top of a roof today, you are fairly going to see everywhere around here. And that's not the way life is. Most times, we are not able to see the A to Z. We will be able to see ABC. Maybe that's what God wants you to know for now. God wants you to take the first steps. Many times in our career paths, I remember when I finished law school, I wanted to finish the best. So I went into law school believing that I could be the best. I could have the best result. But failures come with these plans as well. God has said, don't study law. I went to study law. I got into law school. I finished very well in uni. And even with all the human efforts, I read so hard, I strained my back and I still carried that pain. I didn't have the result that I wanted. But with God, all things are possible. And as you sit in church today, don't try to have competing plans. So you see somebody seated by you and you say, I like that plan. It's written something on the board. I'm going to adopt that plan. What God wants you to do is not to have a competitive mindset. I know it's good to set hard targets and meet those hard targets, but you are just one individual. What you need to do as an individual is to find your inner strength, to find your inner competence. And once you can find that competence, go for it. Shoot. And when you shoot, you will learn well. May God help you today. And another slide says that you shouldn't consider the validation of other people. Many times, when we describe our plan and somebody says, oh, thumbs up, I like this one, we think we can roll with it. If God has not validated that plan, you are only wasting time. Make sure that God has signed up on that plan. Your life wouldn't be the same. And know that the process of divine guidance is not always pleasant. So sometimes we lay our plans before God and say, this is the plan. If you consider a text in Isaiah 55, 8 and 9, God says that for your thoughts are not my thoughts, neither are your ways. As the heavens are far from the earth, so also are what? So also are what? my thoughts far away from your thoughts and your ways different from my ways. So most times you think you've crafted it, but God will make tweaks to that plan and say, why not do it differently? I remember when I wanted to do postgraduate, I was thinking, I want to study oil and gas law. God said, go for it. But in my mind, I was constantly thinking, studying oil and gas law without enabling me to have an energy career. I thought it could happen, but I was thinking about Nigeria. I was thinking you needed connections. But as God ordered my steps one after the other, I got into the sector that I wanted to be with God's plan and with God's guidance. God will help you to be as well. Guidance is a skill to be acquired over a lifetime. And we wouldn't leave church today and say just go write that plan and that's the end of the plan. The plan is something you keep touching on, you keep reworking it, you keep updating it, you keep revising it. Remember the King David, remember that he had a lot of experiences, and if you look at Samuel, 2 Samuel chapter 2, when it was all said, Saul was out of the way. Jonathan, who could have been the heir, was also out of the way. If you look at Isaiah, 2 Samuel chapter 2, you see found David saying, okay, all is said, God, what do I do? Shall I go into the cities of Judah? Shall I turn to the left or to the right? At that level, you see him that he couldn't do it by himself. Is God talking to you as well today? May God help you to listen carefully and follow through with all that he wants you to follow. Because we are going to have discussions later, I just want to leave you with some thoughts on the final slide, and we can discuss more deeply when we have the questions. And these are the few thoughts I will leave with you. These quotes are powerful quotes that have worked for me. And reflect deeply within yourself and say, what will you do today if you knew you couldn't fail? That's when you have started out. What will you do today if you really knew that you couldn't fail? If you pursue this opportunity, you can't fail. God is going to talk to you and tell you that thing and may help you to follow through. And I like this one by Henry Ford, who went on to design Ford motors. I love Ford to date. And he says, whether you think you can or whether you think you can't, you are right. So if you think you can't do it, you are right. If you think you can, you are right. I pray that God will make you believe within your heart that yes, you actually can, and God will make all things possible. And another one is a quote by Mark Twain, where it said, 2 of the most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you realize why. I'm just going to add to it that it's not just the day you were born, the day you got born again can be a differentiator in your life, and that completes that quote. And another one is, it's never too late to be what you might have been. That's George Eliot. So we've thought about it, we've seen people that are high flyers, but your story is a different story. Your story is not my story, it's not Brother Hope or Sister Fuluke and everybody here. Our stories will be different. Try to find your story today. Try to pray earnestly to God, and God can give you a clear story. And lastly, I believe that with all that have been said by my colleagues, you have the arrow that you can shoot with. May God help you to shoot and come back with bountiful harvest. And finally, I want to leave you with a word of promise, where God said in Isaiah 58 verse 11, and the Lord shall guide thee continually. It all depends on God. God will guide you. God will guide you. Can I hear an energized amen? God will guide you. Amen. Thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity.
Now we will be going into the Q&A section, and before we do that, we are going to do something. I will invite our brother Shiwamokele. He's going to teach us the Aspire Anthem. Do you want to learn it? Do you want to learn it? Yes. Alright, so he's going to come up and teach us the Aspire Anthem. And I would like to remind us what I said the other time. Please, there is a board, there are 2 boards outside. Just maybe on your way out, just make sure you write something. We need to know if we have youths that are aspiring, youths that have vision. They said, let your vision be clear. So we need to take that into consideration. God bless you.
God bless you.
Thank you. God bless you. Alright, so the Aspire Anthem goes to us. God is going to finish just what he started. We have started today, and he will finish it. Even though the waters got to be parted, just like the children of Israel, when it got to the Red Sea, there was no other option for them. To the right was mountain, to the left was mountain, to their back was a whole host of army. And then God had to do what? He had to part the sea. And then there's an encouragement. Lift up your heads. Don't be brokenhearted. God is going to finish what He started in you. I cannot hear an amen? Amen. And then the verse 2 says, yes. It's a personal thing now. Yes, I'm going higher. I've got to aspire. Even though the mountains are before me, it has to expire. I will aim for greatness. I will never be discouraged. I'm going to keep on working to achieve all my goals. Do you want to do that? I'm going to keep on pushing till I reach my rewards. And God is going to finish what He started in me. Okay, after the tune, we'll take it line by line and then we'll sing through. Okay? So it says, me, we do, fa, me, fa, me, so, funny, fa, me, we do. I'm sure a few of us are musicians here, so you understand what that tune. God is gonna finish just what He started, even though the waters got to be parted. Lift up your heads, don't be broken-hearted. God is gonna finish what He started in you. Let's take it one line at a time. God is gonna finish just what He started. Again, God is gonna finish just what He started. Even though the waters got to be, again, even though the waters got to be part. Lift up your heads, don't be broken-hearted. God is gonna finish what He started. Let's take the verse one together again. 1. God is gonna finish just what He started, even though the waters got to be parted. Lift up your heads, don't be broken-hearted. God is gonna finish what He started in you. There's a bridge. It says, He who began a good work in you is able to complete it. He who began a good work in you is able to complete it. And verse 2 says, and yes, I'm going higher, got to aspire, even though the mountains got to expire. I'll aim for greatness, not to be discouraged. Gonna keep on working to achieve all my goals. Gonna keep on pushing till I get my rewards. God is gonna finish what He started in me. So after taking the anthem, what do you say? Aspire. Again? Aspire. One more time. Aspire. God bless you. It is no secret what God can do. What He done for others, He'll do for you. With arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do. One more time, let's sing it together. It is no secret what God can do. What He done for all, He'll do for you. With arms wide open,
now.
The jams of times bring out the news. Another day is due.
I said you should listen to me.
Sun was asleep and fell. Was that sun is you? You may have longed for added strength, your courage to renew.
Hold it.
Do not be discouraged, for I bring hope to you.
Yeah, let's sing it together now.
It is no secret what God can do. What's done for us, He'll do for you. His arms wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret.
Louder now.
What God can.
The chorus, louder. 1, 2, go.
It is no secret what God can do. Was done for others, He'll do for you. Windows wide open, He'll pardon you. It is no secret. Hold it. What God can do.
Okay, yes, sir. I wanted to say something before, but I changed my mind. Yes, sir. I think it's okay as I changed my mind, sir. Yes, sir. So, all right. So I will invite the moderator for the Q&A session, the person of Brother Dennis Aribido, together with this, the three speakers. Please, can you come up stage? You can raise your hand, ask your question, or if you prefer to write it down and pass it to the ushers, we'll bring your question. Thank you.
If you enjoyed their presentation, can you say amen? Amen. Yes, God bless you. Now, while the presentation was going on, I know you must have jotted down some questions that you want them to attend to. And now we have a wonderful session for them to attend to those questions. So, I want to use this opportunity. I'm giving like 2 people to rise and ask their question in the congregation while we gather the one that is written on the papers. You tell us your name, your branch, and you ask your question. Thank you. Please speak to the mic. Okay. How? How will you be encouraged to do what? Is it to aspire? Okay. So you want to know how you be encouraged or to do what? To aspire? But did you really follow the presentation? Yes, okay. Thank you. You can sit down. I think I will give that to Sister Foluke to answer. You know, she's asking how to be encouraged to aspire. So, please, you can help her out. Thank you very much.
Okay. I would say you need to encourage yourself. You need to take ownership of your aspiration. But like I said, when I have the opportunity to present, You can look for someone around you that you think is already where you're heading. Look for people that are doing well in their careers right now, and kind of, go under their tutelage. Let them mentor you, and you also need to be at the driving seat of your aspiration. Nobody can impose an aspiration on you, so it has to come from your inside. It has to come from your purpose, from your vision. But like I said, your visualization is very, very important. So attach yourself to people that are doing well in their chosen fields, that have inspiring careers, and learn under them. And I think you will be encouraged. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I hope that is clear enough. Yes. We just need to set our priority right and look at around us those things that will encourage us. And certainly you'll be encouraged. There is this question that somebody wrote here. So what if you love a particular course that you would like to study and you are not very good at it? Please, what will I do? I will send this to Bahob. What can you say about this? Yes.
Okay, thanks. I think that's a good question. So, there are different ways you can go about this, if I want to be sincere with you. The first would be that you need to study hard. There are some times that, and I'll tell you why I said that. I used to have this friend when we were in secondary school who wanted to be a science student. And my secondary school was such that if you didn't have at least credit in mathematics and integrated science, they will not allow you go there. So they kind of decide for you based on how you performed in your junior secondary school exam. But he wanted to study science and he wanted to be in the same class with us. So he had a pass, I think in integrated science, if I remember very well. But he was committed to it. And his father happened to be the vice principal of our school then. So his father would even come to class and ask him to go out because he didn't think he had the ability to study science and succeed. So he would say, don't compare yourself with these guys that are naturally talented. He used to use those words. But he went on to study science. He studied statistics in the university. He finished with a 2-1. There was no first class in his class. He was one of the best in his class. And he went to Unilorin then. When Unilorin was really fast, they didn't go on strike and all of that. So he was actually the first person to have a BSc. And this was a guy that even the father thought could not do well in science. That's one part. So you try to study hard and see through the grace of God what you can do. But also sometimes we need to do what we call reality check. If you know that you are really struggling, then maybe that is not what God wants.
Yes,
okay. So it could be that that's not what God wants for you. So you've studied hard, you've put in your best, and you see that you are not really excelling in that field. Then let God guide you into what you should do. And that's why I gave that example also of another friend when we were in the university who had to change his course. And I gave this example because I said he worked for one of the big 4. And even for those of us that finished with engineering then, some of us first went to work for some of these big 4. So if he had continued and he failed in engineering, he would not have had that chance at all. So that's how I put it. Try your best. If you see that really you don't have the ability, pray to God and let God guide you and lead you into what you should do.
Okay, Baja wants to add to that.
Yeah, thank you. I have an additional thought on that question. And Bahub's chairs are very clear. You can pray to God and God can direct you. I think one key thing that we've said that I would like you to take away today is that be very clear on what God wants you to do. And a quick testimony I will share is that of my late father, where God said to him, I want you to study a course that you are not good in, so that you wouldn't think that it's because of your excellence that you excelled in that course. He was good in mathematics, and he said God told him to go study physics. Physics wasn't the course he loved at all, but from following God's guidance, he went on to do a master's, to do a PhD, and eventually become a professor of physics. And so my point is, if God has said so, God will make a way for you. Just make sure that you have very good backing for going into the course. And if that's God's will for you, God will make a way.
Thank you very much. God will always make a way for us. So it's for us to follow God. I just want to ask this question. It's just related. This person is asking, as an HND holder, without a degree, that is maybe BSc, I wish to further into masters and PhD. Is it possible? And what steps should I take? because there is a lot of discrimination between HND holders and degree holders. So as someone who is in the workplace, you know what I'm saying. So is there any guidance or a direction that we can give to this kind of person? I would direct that to Brother John, so if other guys will want to add to that. Brother John.
Thank you. I mean, we need to look at the reality of the world that we live in. Everybody will not end up in a university. Some are going to have HND. But there are a few things that are common to all professions. Key thing is identify what the levelers of that course or that profession can be. So, assuming you went into a polytechnic and you finished with an accounting degree, a leveler could be progressing to study ICANN or ACC. At some point, it may not really matter if you came with an HND or you came with a BSc. I've actually met many people from the polytechnics that have gotten to the very height of their different careers. Focus on the levelers, focus on the professional growth that is possible. It could be an MBA. An MBA could be a game changer for you in your career path. And once you can ride on that MBA, people may not really care if you had an HND. And don't be too bothered about stereotypes. Don't be too bothered about what people say about that course. If God has said that is your path, God will make a way.
Thank you very much. I hope.
So it's nothing different from what he has said, but it's always good to share examples. That's one of the things that helps me a lot. When you want to do something and you have a vision of exactly what that is. I know of a guy, I was just trying to see if I could get his name online, but at your spare time you can Google it. He actually had an HND from a northern polytechnic, I can't remember the school now, and then applied to the US for masters. There are some schools in the US, they will take you, whether it's HND or BSc, as long as you finish with a good result, they will take you in. He went for his masters and then earned his PhD as well, and is well respected in his field today. So like he said, don't be limited by that certificate you think you have. Go for professional courses, look for opportunities out there. What I found out, what I found out is that a lot of times we don't actually look out there for the opportunities that are bound. A lot of opportunities are out there for you to develop yourself further.
Thank you very much. So we just need to aspire. The possibilities is limitless. So just aspire. There's always a way. With God, all things are possible. There is one here saying if someone is above 50 years of age, what can he or she do in order to aspire? So now the person is looking at, almost my age is above 50, and as if I don't have aspiration again. Is it still possible to aspire even within this age gap or age brackets? Sister Fuluke, you want to say something?
Yeah. I was just going to say, your aspiration necessarily doesn't have to do with you getting a job or
age.
And I don't think it's limited by age.
Okay.
If you're 50, you can decide that you want to go into missions. It's just about living for a cause, really. And at the end of your race, dying empty, knowing that you have explored all your potential. So you don't need to say, because I'm 50, I don't want to go back to school, or nobody's going to employ me. What is that thing that gives you the kick? What is that thing that you're passionate about? You can just zone in on that thing, develop yourself in that area, and the sky will just be the beginning. I don't believe it's too late to learn. If it's something that you need to go and learn, you can. There are people that have gone for law degrees in their 50s. So if it's something you're passionate about and the Lord is leading you to do, just go for it. I don't think your aspiration should be limited by age, really.
Thank you very much. Just in line with that, because I'm trying to segment the question so that to go along, we move from the maybe career to other aspect of the question.
But
so, yes, you want to add that a little, okay.
There's a video that I've seen, it's a short clip, and I'm sure you might have seen it maybe on WhatsApp. It will tell you that your age does not really matter. I mean, this is not to discourage young people from going early for what they want in life. But you think you are 50, somebody will become a president before he turns 40. Another person will be a president until he's 70. Another person would not get his degree until he's 50, 60. Someone will end his degree even at 22. So the point is, like she said, what is that thing you want to go for? Sorry, but Caleb at 85 said, give me this mountain. David killed Goliath when he was still very young. They started celebrating him as a warrior then. He at his own age said, let me now take this. So please, let's not limit ourselves by age.
Thanks. I've got a quick thought as well, and what comes to mind is the parable of the talents. And as individuals, we will always find the talents in our lives play out at different times. you could start your career today, retire, but you still want to find fulfillment because God has said to you, I want you to go start that business after you retire from this job. So it's never too late to find fulfillment. And I pray that God helps you. The former president of this country is still a classic example, and that's Obasanjo. He believed strongly that he wanted to go back to school to study theology, and we see how well he's doing today. It's never too late.
Thank you very much. There is this one here. I'm a graduate and I have attended several interviews. I think Sister Foluke this one interests you. He said, I'm a graduate and I've attended several interviews, but some companies will promise to call me back, but I've got discouragement. Severally, I didn't receive any feedback from them. Is there a situation or what can I do? So I think as a practitioner, you can give your professional advice on this matter.
Well, I wouldn't know why you weren't called back, but best practice is to always give feedback. While most companies will not tell you why you were not selected, they will just let you know that on this occasion you're not being considered for the job. But what I can say is I realize that a lot of people don't go for interviews prepared. So you could go back and just step back and look at what you've been doing at interviews. What have you been doing? If you've been doing the same thing consistently and they're not calling you back, then there's a need for something to change. So if you're doing something consistently, you're not getting the results you expect, then you need to change your strategy. And I'm very, sometimes it kind of amazes me, the kind of information we have on the internet. So you're going for an interview, you just appear. I've seen people come for interviews and it was obvious that they were not prepared. You cannot even tell me about yourself. You can't tell me about the company that you're applying to. You can't tell me about where you're going. So what I would say to the person is, I really don't know why they didn't get back to you, but you need to check what you're doing. Go back to the drawing board. Go back to, tips for interviewing successfully. Look at your resume again. Look at your presentation. Presentation is very, very key. I remember something that struck me in the story of Joseph. When Pharaoh sent for him to come and interpret his dream, the Bible says he prepared. It took time to prepare. He didn't just appear. So don't just appear for interviews. Go prepared. Let people know that you really did prepare for that job. There are people that you interview and you can say that this person spent time to prepare for this interview. And there are people that are just walking and for whatever reason, they were just hoping that things will work out and they don't prepare. So I would say be prepared. Look at interviewing tips online. There are a lot of videos on YouTube that you can watch on how to comport yourself in interviews. So let's be lazy. Let's go a notch higher. Let's take extra steps, and we'll see if there's a change.
Thank you very much, Ma. There's a question out there. Yes, can you take the mic and ask your question? Yes, take the mic and ask your question. Speak to the mic.
How can you be successful in life?
But how can you be successful in life? Were you in the presentation? Did you listen to the presentation? You were not here when it was presented. Okay. So if you registered, I can assure you we are going to send presentation to all the people that are registered in our portals. We gather your email addresses. So all the presentation you see today, we are sending it to you. We can guarantee you of that. So be rest assured, we don't have enough time to deal with all the questions. So we are going to send that to you and find time to go through them. And we believe that God will answer your question. There's another one here. He's saying that if I have an ambition to become a mechanical engineer, but I don't have connection, what can I do? Now, is the connection the main thing? But hope. I don't know which connection now. Is it God's connection or man's connection?
I'm happy Sister Fulu here is ready to help me out at some point. I studied mechanical engineering, worked as a mechanical engineer before I assumed this.
So sir, you can put the mic.
So I was saying that I'm actually a mechanical engineer, so I want to make it very clear, very, very clear, that the only connection you need is to God. You can choose not to believe it. It's your choice. Networking is good. Don't mix things up. When Joseph was in the prison, I have this very small write-up that says that you want to challenge networking. Even Joseph told the butler, he said,
don't forget me, remember me there. Networking is very good, but that's different from the way I perceive connection when I hear it from people. It just gives me this impression that until you know one big man out there, until your father is this or that, you can't get to where you are going. Well, to the glory of God, every job I've gotten, everywhere I've worked, I never knew anybody. When I was
that's what God can do. You can hear that.
I didn't know anybody. So make sure you have the right connection, which is to God. Prepare yourself very well. She has said it. Some in this country, companies still recruit on merit. I can assure you of that. So you go out there and let God help you to be your best, and you will excel.
Thank you very much.
Sorry, I said Sabu was help.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so I have a personal experience with that, and because I'm in recruiting, so it comes it comes close to art. So when I was going to apply to where I work right now, and I've been there for 10 years, someone said to me, "You don't know anybody there. They won't call you." You know, so. And it's very important what we listen, what we listen to, what we hear, and what we let enter into our heart. So, if you are expanding your faith, and someone is saying to you that you need connection, then those are two contrary information, right? So you need to choose what you listen to and what you let enter your heart. So, when the person said that to me, I just kind of blocked off that person mentally and physically. I wasn't talking to the person about that role anymore until I got hired, and I didn't know anybody there. Like he said, all the jobs I've gotten, I worked in KPMG before I got this current job I'm doing. I didn't know anybody. I was even interviewed in school, you know. So I want us to the idea that in Nigeria we need connection. There are places where you may need connection to get to, but like you said, it's all about God. I mean, my own testimony is something that, you know, I like to share with people, but I mean, there's no time today, but the handwriting on the wall was obvious that it was God that lined me up for that job. I prayed and God did it. So pray for it. Whatever you want to do, just pray, put it in the hands of God, and just do whatever you need to do. Don't let anybody confuse you and say you need to know somebody. Please that hire people without them knowing who you are.
Thank you very much, my sister. Okay. This question goes through to John. This is an aspiring lawyer, and he's saying that I would love to be a lawyer, but I'm always shy and I have stage fright. Where should I go? I don't know, maybe you had these tendencies before you became a lawyer.
Good question. And just to be clear, I remember that in getting into the university to study law, there was the general perception that to be a lawyer, you need to be that person arguing with a market woman rather than pay buy guys cash. You just want to argue. That's not really who a lawyer is in today's world. And bear in mind that there's nothing in human pursuits that are not related to law in one way or the other. And so, just the way you want to be a mechanical engineer, you want to be a maritime engineer, you find lawyers specializing in each of these activities. Your part in law may be to go to the courtroom. Your part in law may also be to be a solicitor. I stepped last in the court in 2009, not because I didn't like speaking in court, but because I just didn't like the justice system in the country. And so it's not really relevant if you are not a very vocal person. As you get into school, start to do a lot of things that will bring out the depth in you. If there are associations you can join in uni, join those associations. I remember that when I was in uni, I participated in what we call moot competitions, where you have hypothetical cases, you debate them, and we traveled for these competitions. So from not being a good speaker, from not being able to stand before anybody, you acquire these skills over time. You don't acquire them one day, and I pray that God helps you.
Thank you very much. Okay. There is no time, so let's just move. This one is also related to that. We want to try as much as possible to clear some of these career issues. Because it's one of the challenges we are having as a youth directorate. We just need to empower our youth, we need to enlighten them, and that's why we are trying as much as possible, to expatiate on some of these things. So please, I want to ask, if you want to be an architect and a book writer, and your father or mother says they want you to be a medical doctor, can you go against the idea? I just want to know, maybe you had that similar experience, you wanted to be a mechanical engineer, your father is saying, no, you just have to be a medical doctor. And what happened? Or maybe you've had experience or someone's testimony or as a professional, what will you advise to this question? now is having issue with the parent. The parent say, no, you have to be a medical doctor, but he wants to be an architect. So what do you do? Yes, Staff, okay.
It's a tricky one. I would say your parents are paying your school fees, right?
Yes.
So I think it's all about engagement. If you can approach your parents with information. So most of our parents, they believe courses like medicine, being a lawyer, being an accountant is actually the in thing. But the truth of the matter is the fact that the future of work has changed. All the professions that we think are the top professions, things are changing. In the next 10, 20 years, 25 years, some of our jobs will not be relevant. So it's good to provide information and context and explain why you want to study what you want to study and the prospects you see in that job. So I believe a lot in engagement and trying to provide data to support whatever argument you have. It's a tricky one because you cannot afford to dishonor your parents. I know people that have said, oh, whatever you think, Daddy, I'll go and do what I want to study. But I mean, they're paying the school fees. You need to convince them and you need to pray about it. So if you feel strongly about it, approach the throne of grace. Let God speak to your daddy and your mommy. Don't just go and say, I will do whatever I want to do. That's what I would say, really.
Okay, thank you very much, ma. This question goes to Hope. There's a situation where this person is saying is particularly in a job now, but it's not a satisfactory one. He's not happy doing it, so he's saying that he doesn't know what to do. At the same time, he wants to really know what to do. The current job he's doing is perfect, but he's not having satisfaction. So job satisfaction is out of it. Although it's okay, but job satisfaction is another issue.
Yeah, so this is where sometimes I like us to do a reality check with where we are in life. So you have a job that is paying you just said it's perfect, but you are still not satisfied. I do not know why the person is not satisfied. That's very important to answering this question. If the job is perfect, I don't know why you are not satisfied. What I mean is, you might say you are not satisfied because you feel you should be earning more than what they are currently paying you. You might say you are not satisfied because you are looking at someone else. But if you are not satisfied because you feel it's not your area of strength, or you think that you'll be better doing something else, then I'll say, go out there and look for that thing that is your area of strength. But if your motivation comes strictly from pay, I'm sorry, I differ on that a lot. Even in my place of work, I differ on that a lot. I think your motivation should come from you being happy doing what you are doing. If you are not happy doing what you are doing, there is a company that has what will make you happy. Look out for that. Go out there. But if it is because you want them to increase your pay and maybe you've been having arguments about that, I would say that think of what those skills you are building at the moment and let that propel you at the right time. There are some places where you work that the place is like a launch pad for you. She talked about KPMG, which is one of the big four. I used to work for PwC, which is one of the big four. It's very clear the moment you are getting into those companies. They are not appealing to all of you to stay. That's not the idea. So when you are there, they will use you. You might be tired. You might feel like, oh, but as long as you are picking up skills that will help you in life, before you know it, you can move on to something else. So I always just advise people, until you find that other thing that makes you happy, or you want to go into your own business, don't stay idle. So I'll leave that choice for you to make. If what you are doing now is so terrible that you have to get out of it, then find another place immediately. But don't stay idle.
Yeah, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. I believe we have a variety of questions here, but I believe that in the course of answering some of those questions, we've answered a good number of them. So, and I know that, we don't have enough time to answer all of them. Like I said, most of them have been answered, and by the grace of God, we are sending you the presentation after the program. So you can go through them, and we pray that God will interpret it, to your understanding. Our time is fast spent. I want to use this opportunity to appreciate our guest speaker, Brother Jintoyi, Sister Opale, and Brother Sukia. Thank you for your time. Thank you for this wonderful session. I really enjoy it. I will pray that God will continue to bless and prosper our endeavor. Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now, right about now,
Can we all see the screen? Yes. There's nothing on the screen. I mean, I want us to watch movie, and the screen is not showing. Okay, so the movie now that I want us to watch, I will ask my people to act it. Have I done well? I've done well, have you? Is the movie gone that I want to watch? But we don't have popcorn, no. We don't have popcorn. So, right about now, we'll be having the drama. Are they ready? All right.
Hey, good afternoon, my sister. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, my sister. God bless you. We have fellowship to you today. Don't forget. Yes.
Every time, big novels.
Even pastor. Hey!
Oh, now, pastor is normal now. Pastor. Hey, good afternoon, sir.
God bless you.
God bless you.
You have fellowship
today, I can't come now. Today is the election now. Maybe next time, child.
Reverend Gio.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know you are the last fellowship that we have. What happened?
Well, Pastor, see you after the class, Jare. Our reader. Good afternoon. Jennifer. I said I don't greet you now. I don't greet you now. I beg. Don't be where I go like I go sit down. I beg.
Pastor, God bless you. I love that solo that you sang last time. It's God. I'm praying for you. Thank you.
ọmọ bàbá olówó one ọmọ bàbá olówó one which kind carry come no forget me
big boy
ọmọ bàbá olówó
Don't forget to give me lift after the class.
there's space in my car, don't worry.
Great Nigerian student. Greatest baba. Greatest gbogbo. Greatest shiwon. Greatest lewolere. You know now, this evening, 6 p.m. FUG election. Presidency.
You see now, Ojomo Miligo ló school emo now. So 1, 2, 3 pass. I have 8 students like this now. You understand now? You enjoy me. I commit Ojomo, vote for Ojomo, a vote for credibility, a vote for Ojomo, a vote for accountability. And mommy now, you understand?
Good morning, class.
Good morning, class. I thought today's the election, and I was told today is supposed to be a lecture-free day. So what are you doing in class?
Yes, sir. We are here to campaign.
So why are you sitting down? I'm not going to be taking you to. We're not going to be having leadership class today, but you must remember the last class I told you. I gave you 4 questions you actually think about. Can you remember? You can't. I told you in the last class that what should you aspire for? You want to be a leader, so you need to aspire to be something. What kind of leadership do you want to go into? And I told you that do you actually have the potential to fulfill that aspiration? And you must also ask yourself, what are you actually created to be in life? So don't just say you have an aspiration, but your aspiration must actually be to fulfill that purpose for which you were created. Then the last question I told you last class was, when do I need to start? So I think I will see you during the exam. So there's no class today. Thank you.
Please, so may I not forget to 6 p.m. 6 p.m.
Sarah, what are you teaching now? Are you not done?
I'm thinking about what lecturer taught us. What about aiming for greatness?
So?
I don't really understand. Please, can you share more light?
As for me, I aspire to be one of the best female technopreneurs in Africa. I don't have a mind to study in the US.
What did you say now?
Technopreneur.
Hey, what? Wait. How do you want to aspire that? I don't know. How do you want to achieve that? Or do you think it's paper? It's a UK. I said our mother is one petty trader in that market. So how do you want to even pay your fees to achieve all this? See, I don't see you getting to that.
Just forget that, but I know that with God all things are possible. Okay, you they are talking now. Tell me, what are you aspiring for?
See, you may need to say that. As you can see, when I just finish this year schooling of a team, my father will just pick me one of his oil servicing firms. So you see, what pictures are this set? I don't need to aspire anymore. So I be killing most already. Oh, now when Babolo will be your number one. This is what everything will do. Me.
Hey! AFA! No future ambition.
Okay, tell me what your ambition.
As you can see, all this technopreneur, oil firm, I don't even understand. I am a child of God and I am content with what I have. The Bible said, be fruitful and multiply. I'm just aspiring for this OND. After that, I will settle down with a God-fearing man.
Hey, abeg, leave that God-fearing. See, the money no be the flow of God. Money, see, as for me, I just need a cool guy. I need a guy that has money, that has cool money, that will shower me with money, that will take me to buy the latest fashion.
Ah, Jenny, you are there. When you get married to that rich man, don't forget to give me your clothes too. Yeah? You are a rich boy. Not tailor. I want to be one of the best fashion designer. I want to have my skills in different parts of the country. See, let's go. We have exam. Oh, babe. What's expecting you? How's everything? I missed you. Sit down. Don't mind me. What's been loving you? With one of my managers and in US. That's what kept me so late. I'm so sorry. Yes, there. So, you know, my business has actually expanded so wide now. I have different stores in Italy, I have in Dubai, I have in Venice, I have in every part of the world, even Paris. Now I'm trying, thank you, I'm trying to break into US markets. Yes, and I need a good network that can connect me to all the parts of the world. You know, yes.
I understand what you mean.
Thank you. I'm going to do a network integration for you. Do you understand? Oh, I love your drive. So you actually fulfill this. Oh, you know, then you are aspiring to be one of the 5 biggest fashion designer in the world. I was just looking at you. How will you be able to do this? But thank you for beauty. I'll just quickly do it and give you what it's going to cost you. Let's just now look at this. Maybe we'll do it like this, and then
everybody can enjoy. It's God's whole celebration. That's very good.
Oh, maybe we'll set your office at Washington.
How have you been now? Come on, let me sit down and dance, because I am my friend. Come on, bring something. How has everything been? I'm sure you must have been in Senate now. You were our SUG president now.
Was it like that? When you were in school, that did that. Hey. But outside politics is different. It's very different.
How have you been all this while now?
Hey, my bro. See, after school, I went into politics. Like, I want to go for German local government. Bro,
yes.
I spent all my money.
Okay. You mean you spent all your money on campaign?
They finished my money. I don't want to borrow money from bank.
That must be a serious
one. They rigged the election. See, bro.
Yes.
Thank God for Jesus in my life.
Wow. Wow. This guy.
Okay, let's
listen. This is school now. SG. Pastor now. One of these people just changed my life.
So you are now a trained person. My brother, I have a similar testimony.
So we just
you remember me now? I am among the NFA in the school those days. You remember our lecturer one time ago? One man that taught us he talked about aspiration. And people asked me what I was aspiring for, and I was just looking at you like a dummy, after which I discovered that I was going through the wrong path. I later met God at the end of the day. My brother, I tell you, today I am a software developer. My brother, I have multinational companies that I consult for.
That's nice.
But this is what God can do for somebody.
Yeah.
Who is this? Look. Is that Lola? Lola again. Lola again. That fashion. She said she wanted to. Lola.
LCG president. Wow. NFA. Do you now have aspirations?
My story has changed.
You mean it? Tell me more, please. Tell me more. I can see.
My sister, to the glory of God.
You mean it?
I'm now a software developer.
Really?
My life has changed.
Are you serious?
How far with you now?
I have my stores around the world.
You know that's why we are here.
Paris, just name it. No, I'm trying to break in the.
Into the US. Let's sit down.
It's God. Anyway, this has been God.
Really?
Thank you.
This is a one.
This has been, in fact, my sister, my people, God is wonderful.
You are talking about God.
I tell you, my sister, God has transformed my life, and I can see God. See, this is a wonder. Man, where is he? Oh my God!
So, can you tell me more? How did you come to know God?
Oh, my sister.
I was invited by one church they call the Apostolic Faith Church. They just talk about salvation. I did not really understand. Not until I went into it, my sister. Once I got it, the Lord transformed my life. Things have been better for me now.
What about you? How far with your government aspiration? You want to be in Nassau Rock and all that?
No, stop that.
Stop that. I was still coming to look for business. So, I want you to get me that government contract.
My sister, I'm into this charity program now.
Charity.
Prison, Wonderland.
Oh, that's good.
I'm into now.
Oh,
yeah,
fine.
So I'm going to do a partner business with you.
Of course, we can do that. I will be interested too. And
Tolu must be a very busy woman. Now she's just on. See, I think I need to change my suit. She's into fashion. I need to collect her. But my people, on a more serious note, have you come?
Let me tell you something, brother.
What's that?
It pays to serve.
You are correct.
This is what we were telling you.
That it pays to serve God. Yes. That if you put God at the center of anything you want to do in life, anything you are aspiring to do, if God is at the center, the sky is your beginning.
Exactly.
So you can see that it pays to serve God. Though,
we must continually serve
of
God.
course. Please, I need your contact. We will meet.
080 So you will collect. All right. You say what's your body multi?
So now we'll go proceed in our program. The next thing on the line is a special song from our brother Shem Owamakede. Then after the special song, we are going to have a word of exhortation from our Weka Youth leader in the person of Bro Toby. Then after that, you have
the opportunity to come to God and talk to God.
When Joseph was a little boy, he was driven by his dreams. God spoke to him, told him that he'd chosen him. And when others didn't understand, Joseph still believed. He trusted him, and was willing to dream on. When the world just didn't believe, God had promised never to leave him alone. Dream on, follow hope wherever it leads. In the seed of dreams, there's promise of the dawn. Learn to listen for the music. Keep on following the star. Mornings can't be far. Dream on. There's not a valley deep enough that he can't lead you through. He'll walk with you, walk the roughest roads with you. No mountain ever rose so high that you can't climb with him. And stand up tall, stand and look down on it all. Dream on. When the world just doesn't believe, God has promised never to leave you alone. Dream on. Follow hope wherever it leads. For in the seed of dreams, there's promise of the dawn. Dare to listen for the music. Keep on following the star. Morning can be far. Dare to listen for the music. Keep on following the star. Mornings can't be far. Dream on.
All right, God bless you all. We thank God for what God is doing with us this evening. Those outside, the organizers, choir members, WCS members, cameramen, thank you. I trust the organizers and those in the canteen, in the kitchen, everyone here has an aspiration, I see. And almost everybody, in all of the questions that will be asked, how do I become a lawyer? How do I become an accountant? How do I become an oil person? You know, different things. A lot of us here. And to everybody listening to, you can hear the sound of my voice this evening. And even if you're married, and I know you all have aspirations. But I want to ask you one question this evening. How many of you desire to aspire for the greatest thing ever? If you aspire, you know, to be a lawyer is great. To be the GM of NNPC is great, I know.
to be an accountant, to work in Deloitte, in PwC, in the AFM. It's great, it's big, it's good. To aspire, true. But there is something great that everyone should aspire for. If you desire to aspire for the greatest thing ever, I want to see your hand up. Even if you are outside, whether you are an usher, you are WCS, whatever you are, you aspire for the greatest thing ever. You dream of it. You aspire, yes, you aspire. Wave your hand. Let's see. Thank you so much. Who can tell me the greatest profession to aspire for? If you think, what do you think? I know to be a lawyer is super great. To be an accountant and to be a tailor, a world-class fashion designer is absolutely wonderful. To have a great home and plenty of shops across the world is great. It's beautiful. The greatest thing, the greatest profession to aspire for is to be what? Yes, sir. Is to be, everybody is to be a Christian. Hey, all of you, watch out clearly. I tell you, the greatest profession ever to ever desire for is to be what? Is to be a Christian. And I tell you tonight, the Spirit of God is here. And I can tell you, see, if you are in WCS, you are a choir member, you can be anything. But I invite you to join the profession. Those that aspire, young people that aspire to be a what? To be a Christian. I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why. Sir, permit me. Let me run ahead of the Sunday school teacher of this church ahead of next week. Next week we'll be having a class, a Sunday school lesson. And you know, beautiful lessons we'll be having, great lessons we have in the Bible. In our Sunday school lesson of this Sunday that's coming, it talks about a young man. Let's look at it together if you don't mind. If you don't mind, turn your Bibles with me. I want to show you something interesting. You'll be shocked with all of the things you are inspired by. I don't know if you are up to this young man. Mark chapter 10, 17 only. Mark chapter 10, 17 only. And I want you to listen carefully to this now. And when he had gone forth into the way, that's Jesus now going, there came one running and kneeled to him and asked him, Good master, what shall I do that I may inherit eternal life? Now let me tell you, this is Mark speaking here. When Luke recorded this same verse of the scripture, he said the man who came was what? Was he a poor person or rich? The young man was rich. He was possibly richer than the GM of an NPC. The guy was rich. He was well to do. He was, permit me, he was fulfilled. He has pursued all the dreams, all the beautiful things we're talking about today. But these rich men and young people, I want you to listen carefully. I think we must understand this, that the riches of this man did not satisfy him. And so what did he do? He ran. He had a desire. You can see when your desire, when you aspire for something and it begins to cause you to run, that thing is a good thing. He knew that getting eternal life was far more important than anything in this world. Young people, that may be like fable to you. I'm not sure you like what I'm trying to say to you tonight, but I tell you clearly, nothing ever satisfies and nothing is as sweet, I tell you, is as sweet as being in a relationship with Jesus. I want you to listen carefully. Tell me one thing, one music, one hit song, one star, one dress, one hairstyle that is as sweet, as lasting as Jesus. Even if for a song today you can't be a Christian, if you know some of us, because you know some people because of songs they can't be a Christian, you know that, no?
They can't be, they may be choir members, but they are not Christians. They may be in WCS, but they are not Christians. I challenge you that the most difficult profession ever is the life of a Christian. That's it. And if anybody ever tells you that to be a Christian is sweet, it's not. It's not beautiful, but it's the best thing ever. When you have a relationship with Jesus, the songs that hold you back today from giving your whole life to Jesus, guess what? Those songs, Jesus has outlasted them. Michael Jackson, he was the best of singers, but many people have sang and it has beat him. For the sake of Michael Jackson, some people did not give their life to Christ, but Jesus reigns, and Jesus is the sweetest song. Tell me a song that is sweeter than Jesus. I've not seen. Tell me a friend, your friend, male or female, that is loving, kind, sweet like Jesus. No, think about it now. See, tonight, Jesus calls you to the life, to the profession of being a Christian. He wants you to aspire to be a Christian. Don't get it twisted. Listen carefully, guys. Everything today you are talking about, you want to be a lawyer, you want to be everything. People that are sinners, they achieve it. Let me tell you, they are sinners. People that are not saved, they don't know this church. They are GM of NNPC. They are in all those places. There is nothing you aspire for that people that are not saved cannot achieve. Yes. There are people that don't know that their sins are going to be forgiven. They cannot, because it's things of the world. But when you aspire for the greatest thing that no one can achieve, that is being a what? Being a Christian. And so Jesus invites you to come into the life of a Christian. And guess what? Guess what happens? Guess what happens? When you become a Christian, that thing you are doing becomes sweet. That is why Joshua chapter 1 verse 8 says, you will have what? He didn't just say you will have success. He said you have what? Good success. Other people have success. See, my colleagues in the office, they are successful. But I think somehow when they see me and they talk, they keep asking you, Abraham, so what is this thing that drives you and just gives you joy? I don't get freaked. I don't get why. We're working on the same job. Some people want to get the same job I have, but there are people on the same job as mine who could be even higher than me, but they don't have peace. They don't. What makes the difference is what? Is Jesus. Listen carefully. You can be a Christian. You should be a Christian and aspire for the greatest thing. Yes. I every time when somebody calls me Abraham, that's my name anyway. I'm not Toby, really. See, anytime people call me Abraham, I say I'm not like this Abraham person in the Bible. See, I get freaked about Abraham. They said the guy was a friend of God. But see, this guy, he was also damn rich. He had it. But see, this guy who was a Christian, Abraham was a Christian, you know what? But he took everything that he had as what? Faintly dim. All the other things he was aspiring for. Do you understand? All the things of this world he was aspiring for. Guess what? He took them what? Lightly. To the point that when there was a problem between him and Lot, he was ready to say, take first. Even to the point that when God said, offer me your son, he was ready to what? Let me tell you something. The life of a Christian is total sacrifice. It's no joke. Listen carefully, guys. There are many young people today, and I think that's where we need to God wants to warn us this evening. There are many of us today who have a Christian experience. We do things in church, but guess what? We say we are Christians, but you do not see your Christian work as really Christian work. You wake up like every other person wakes up. You dress like every other person dresses. You even communicate like every other person communicates. Do you see what's happening right now? So, and lately, nothing moves you, drives you as a Christian. And you are a Christian, and you can be working in the church, and you can be achieving the greatest thing in your career. Nobody cares how much things you've gotten in this life, and how many things you've accomplished. And what matters is what we do with our Lord. And guess what? And it's getting normal these days amongst us. We forget that we are Christians. In fact, sincerely, when you look at yourself, I think you can ask yourself this question: am I really a Christian? In the true sense of it, am I a Christian? God is challenging you to the life of what? Being a Christian today. I'll tell you something today. That the life of a Christian is a disciplined life, is it not? Sorry guys, if you're here, you talk, you say whatever you want to say, you do whatever you want to do. I'm sorry, the life of a Christian is more than that. See, what can make a difference between your life and the life of a sinner? Why can't there be a difference within your life and the life of your colleagues in your office? It's now so bad that we cannot tell people in our office that we are a Christian. The people try to deduce. We sing the same song they sing. We get freaked the same way they get freaked. In fact, this is, let me tell you something. Some of us now, we even now carry our career and our aspiration above God. We say temporarily, because I need to achieve this thing. You put some things aside. I like to say something that a sinner eats grass. A sinner eats grass. But God has called a Christian to a wild life. It's a life of a lion. It's a life of fighting. I'm telling you, to be sincere with you, in a Christian walk, it is absolutely not easy. I can tell you for free. It's a life of, and I know it. That is what God has called us. So let me tell you why. See, when Jesus talked to the young man, when he said, I want to be a Christian. Because if he's a Christian, he will be able to get what? Eternal life. Everybody say eternal life. After all you have aspired to be, after all that you have aspired to be, if your aspiration is not for you to return your soul back to your maker, all other aspiration is what? So who can tell me the person who has a lot of money, won't he die? He will die. Yes, good and bad people die. Look at what Jesus told the young man as we wrap up. That's why I tell you that the life of a Christian, if it is not this, watch out. Everybody read with me, 18. Come with me now as we wrap up now. 18. And Jesus said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is God. See what he told him. Thou knowest the commandments. Do not commit adultery. The saved souls in the house, I hope you are listening. The workers in the house, I hope you are listening. It says, do not commit adultery. Do not kill. Do not steal. Do not bear false witness. Defraud not. Honor thy father and thy mother. Guess what this man said? And he answered and said unto him, Master, all this I have observed from my words. This must be a child of the gospel. He must be an apple. Clearly. I don't do all those things clearly. But this apple child here, he's aspiring to be rich. He's rich already. But he still desires in his heart, I want to be a Christian. I want to gain eternal life. And guess what Jesus now told him? And that's the part that calls to you today. See, I cannot point out the sin in your life. Because even this word that is speaking to me and to you. That you and I need to be a Christian in a real sense of it. And so what will be seen is what, as you go on your knees, God will be telling you. See what Jesus told him. He said, and Jesus beholding him, loved him, and said unto him, one thing thou lackest. Go thy way, sell whatsoever thou hast, and give to the poor, and thou shalt have treasure in heaven. And come. What did he say now? Take up your cross. Guys, listen. The life of a Christian is the life of a cross. If you are carrying any other thing but the cross, you are not a Christian. Is the cross easy? I know some people would like to make it easy. I know we're trying to make it funimorous, relationship with God, salvation. But I tell you for free that a life of a Christian is the life of the cross. It is not a life of hide and seek. If you're here, you say you're a Christian, you are hiding. Even Joseph of Arimathea, he had to come out. Even Joseph, he had to come out. You need to come out. You can't keep saying you're a Christian and you cannot say it in your office. You cannot tell the world that you're a Christian. You're a Christian, but you cannot preach to somebody. See, there are people that are here, they are saved, they have a few things experience, but they cannot preach. They cannot go and preach. In a week, they can't preach. The vision of YDD says we have to raise and retain an army of outstanding young people, rich young people that are going to heaven. But they are what? They will not just sit in the church. It's easy to sit in the church, you know that. It's easy to come here and sit. It's easy to come to Anthony and shine the light, Anthony. But it's best to go out and what? And tell the world. If our fathers did not tell the world, we won't have a church. We will not have a church. But these days, we are Christians, but we are laid back. We say we are Christians, but we are laid back. We're not giving out. The life of a Christian is a battle. Is a life of the cross. This evening, I tell you, there is grace for you this evening. Because God is going to put in you an unsatiable desire right now in your heart. And you begin to say, Lord, all I want is I want to know you. All I do is I want to see you. All I just want is I just want to be close to you. All I just want is I want to be a Christian. I just want to be a Christian. See, well, over yesterday when we were coming in the vehicle, mommy will notice there was a song that been ringing in my mind. I'll tell the world that I'm a Christian. I don't know, it's been ringing in my mind these days. I'm not ashamed. His name too. I don't know the words. I'm not a choir member, so I don't know. But I hear the choir members sing it very well. Maybe they will help us. We'll sing it together. Okay, this is the words, right? Is it? Yeah. Okay, so I tell the world that I'm a Christian. I'm not ashamed. His name to be. Guys, some things are not going to be seen, but God will say, drop it. Some things are not going to be seen, but God is going to say, drop it. The man were not committing sin. The apostate young people, you are not doing all those bad things, but if you want to be a Christian and live out God's purpose for your life and aspire to get to heaven, you must drop certain things that are not sin. That's what Jesus is calling you for. How many of us know this song, I Tell the World I'm a Christian? Let's sing it together, the words of the song. As we sing it together, as we're seated singing it together, when we finish, we can come to the altar and we'll begin to pray. But let's sing together, I Tell the World. Yes, please. It will be slowly now, sir. It will be slowly. Let's go, everybody, now. Sit down, please. Sit down. Let's sit down. Just I'll tell the world. Sing now. Watch the words now. I'm not ashamed his name to bear. Help me now. I'll tell the world that I'm a Christian. I'll take him with everywhere now. Everywhere. Anywhere. Sing with me now. I'll tell the world now Jesus. He saved me. He saved you. And how he gave me a life brand new. That's what Jesus offers. Sing now. And I know that if you trust him and all he can give to you now, he'll give to you. I'll tell them that is my Savior. No
where he leads. Yes, where he leads me.
I will go.
I'll tell the world. I'll tell the world that he is coming. It may be near or far away, but we must live as if he is coming.
As if he's coming.
Yes, sing it now. Will be tomorrow. Sing everyone now. For when he comes and life is over. Yes, for those who love him, there's more to be. Eyes have never seen now. Eyes have never seen the wonders that is preparing for you and me. Oh, tell the world now
that you're a Christian.
Oh, let's come now.
Not ashamed.
His name come to the altar. Come to the altar. Tell the world that Lord, I want to be a Christian. Come to the altar. Yes, yes. If you are outside, come. If you are outside, come. Let the workers come. I'll tell the world that I'm a Christian. Come to the altar. Come to the altar. The grace of God is here.
His name to
come, young people, come to the altar. But I want to be a Christian. I aspire to be a Christian. I'll take you wherever, everywhere. Come to the altar. Young people, come to the altar. There's still space at the altar. That Jesus saves me and how he gave a life brand new. Come for a life brand new. Even if you walk in the house of the Lord, come for a life brand new.
I know that if you trust him, that's all he gave me.
Come to the altar. Tell the Lord, I want to be a Christian.
I'll tell the world.
Tell the Lord, I want to be a Christian.
That is my Savior.
Tell the Lord, there's nothing as sweet as being a Christian. All you need to do is to confess your sin.
My life,
the word is for everyone right now.
Is forever.
Jesus calls you to a life of a Christian. Tell the Lord, I want to be a Christian. And it's for everyone to pray. Oh, talk to the Lord.
I'll tell the world.
Jesus is calling you to a life of a Christian. Even if you're a worker, you're standing there, be praying in your heart. The Lord, I want to be a Christian. I want to be a Christian. Lord, help me. I am tired of my life of sin.